Hello everybody, it's time for more Citizen Sleeper. This game rules, even though it's often sad. How's it going today? Alright, my bitrate is a little jumpy, but we're looking okay on bandwidth and frames, so I'll just keep an eye on that. We are going to continue with our operator. As you can see, I've been playing on my second save and poking ahead at a few things. It's a balance between wanting to play this game more and wanting to keep having this kind of first run all on stream. So in my other game, I've been trying to really actively explore different plot lines than what I've been focusing on here with this this character. So here's a question: can we just? I mean, maybe we could just leave with Ankita, but there's stuff still to work on because I haven't done enough for Rabia yet. I haven't done anything with the spoke. I have not helped finish. I have not finished helping Feng. So I watched a conversation between the main designer and games critic and GM turned game developer and GM, Austin Walker, and the developer says Feng, so I'm going to say Feng. I had previously said Feng. I don't know that much about Chinese pronunciation, or what I know is that I don't know very much, because tonality is a thing that I just have not wrapped my head around at all for Chinese. So my apologies there. What do we got here? We got the rest of the scrap is going elsewhere. We could unload containers, but that's none of that. Why is the limited supply not full then? Because I can't buy this. That's fine. Alright, we don't have any more action. We don't have any more dice today. It's true. I should keep an eye on that. Because I think maybe the design crew condition rather than energy, that would be pretty great. Okay, so we're down to 4 dice. We're going to be down to 3 dice after today, probably. And we are low on energy. But we got some pretty good amount of cryo. So we are... I think we have done enough stuff at the shipyard so that Lem and Nina maybe have a chance of getting out, but the ship is only half constructed. It's a pretty good thing to put time into because it makes good money. So we're going to do that. Our 5 becomes a 6 because we have engineer +1. 100% chance of a positive output, positive result. 2 ticks, 15 cryo. And yeah, that's the last thing we can do over there. So, what data do we have? We have 2 Yatagan data. Or fabricator, requires ship mine things. When I get scrap is when I potentially get other things. Can I buy scrap from here? Is that a thing? No, I can sell scrap from here. That's not what I want. And then I can use scrap on this to, like, make myself a place to live. Which is kind of cool. I can sell Yatagan, but he needs 5 Yatagan data. And then, what do you want me to do? You want me to, like, work for Yatagan? Oh, so something I discovered when I was playing my other run is that when you do these actions, this text here gets replaced by the result of your action, and I just had not noticed that because I was always looking at the results up here. So there's some stuff that I missed in terms of, like, you do this action 5 times before the clock fills, and we're going to give you kind of the beats along the way, which is something that I had been wanting but didn't express and didn't realize that the game was actually giving it to me, just in a way that I wasn't paying attention to, which is kind of funny. Intuit, but we can make money. 32 cryo is very good. Nice. Very handy. Let's check our hacking. What would the caster you wanted? You wanted yet again. Okay. So we can flip this, put the 1 in, and get that. Okay, so now we're at 3 Yataghan data. And so we haven't gone over there yet. I did that in my other game, which has some fun stuff. This is also a 1. Havenage takes it 2. This Havenage takes it 2. And that's about it, because I have defeated the Hunter, and therefore there's not a lot of hacking left. So I may not be able to get to 5 there. Okay, I can't buy scrap, but I can unload things. And what do you do? Deliver ship mind. Well, maybe my ship mind friend wouldn't mind going off with Ankita. Let's try that after we do. This is the thing that will help Fung, right? Yes. So, 25% chance of negative. Fingers crossed. Okay, somehow you find all the units you're supposed to be delivering to, but not without cutting back on yourself multiple times. So, not an optimal result, but we did get 1 more tick on Fang's targets. So that is all of that, and now we can go, let's go talk to Ankita and see if she minds hanging out with a cool ship mind. Is this, can we not give her, okay, we cannot give Ankita the imprinted ship mind. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the imprinted ship mind at this point. Build a home? Maybe I can install the ship mind at home and, like, have a roommate? Disable your tracker, get you to Olympus. I haven't done... Karen, I think you would love this game. It's corporate dystopia, building community, some found family vibes, precarity, yeah. Hardens low-end agents. Absolutely. So, welcome. I'm pretty far along the game, but there's a ton of different plot lines and lots of ways for them to go a bunch of different directions. There's at least one whole section of the game that I have not opened up in this run, and possibly another whole section that you get to from the Free Spoke that I just haven't done anything with, because I've got a lot of other things going on as is. Can I eat here? Only by acting. And I have 1 ship mine fragment. So I guess I'm buying rations from here. Okay. I need to remember that I have my reroll if I need it. So scrap. Do not have scrap. Okay, 3, 4, 6 is pretty good. Let's go here and use our 5 on the ship. Okay, 1 tick on the sidereal. Yep, 1 more tick on the sidereal. Maybe 2. 1, okay. to leave, and then we're going to take that 6 and go and do deliveries. So that we can progress this, because Feng is the person who theoretically can disable the tracker that will let the corp find us here. Alright, 2 ticks on the targets there, great. And we got some cryo, which is the money. And that is good. Cannot buy these things. Dispensary, stall. Let's buy some stuff from Emphas, who's cool, but we have just not gotten his stuff. So we're not getting more plot from him yet. Nope. That's all done. So yeah, in my other save, I've worked at the bar a bunch because I have a character who has better engage, and the bar owner has her own plot line of things where, like, she wants to make improvements to the bar, and that's really cool. Alright, so we do have scrap components. Let's try what this looks like. This is going to be condition. Cool, so that got us 2 condition back. If we do that well enough, we don't need stabilizer anymore, which is very interesting. Okay. 2 6s, a 5, and a 2 is pretty great. So let's go over here and put a 6 in here, which will get us this clock filled. A shortcut across a bridgeway means 3 happy customers and 3 big tips. You start to understand the makeshift unit markings. Very nice. So now here's Feng. Sleeper! You see Feng coming up the corridor as you step out of Mingy's, the kelp noodle smell still clinging to your clothes. He comes up fast and stops close, looking around suspiciously. I don't have long. Take these. Feng palms you a couple of those metal thumbnail-sized drives. Ripperworms. Thumbnail-sized drives is a little bit of a tongue twister. Ripperworms. My slate has been buzzing like wild. It seems your delivery shifts have turned up our 2 targets. He squeezes your shoulder. I knew you could do it. Now we nail those snakes. What do? Hardin's boys are all connected by some kind of closed network. You break the access protocols on both of them, you should be able to gain the location of the nearest network ports. Slot the Ripperworms in those ports, 1 each, and they'll feed me anything and everything stored on Hardin's shadow network. He smiles. Can't wait to see what juicy plans they have in there. You hear the scuff of boots as a group comes up the corridor, likely on their way to place an order with Mingy. You turn for a second, and when you look back, Feng is already halfway down the corridor in the opposite direction. He raises a hand in farewell and is gone. You run your fingers over the tiny Ripperworm drives in your pocket and smile to yourself as you wonder how angry Jenna will be at Feng for this little excursion. Time to slot some worms. Hell yeah. So, Hardin agent. Oh wow, look at that. You need a 6. Can I do a 5 here? No. Well, I can do this one. Transfer intercept. Extract data. Security protocols on this agent are serious stuff. What are Hardin's collaborators up to? So, Hardin agent port. Slot a Ripperworm. Yep. Slotting a Ripperworm means a whole load of data on Hardin's activities for Feng. So that's 1 of 2. Where is the other one? Here's Hardin agent. This requires a 5, which is what we have, actually. Very handy. And there's that one. And now we go to this port. And we're going to insert the other Ripperworm. A very nice day of rolls means being able to move this plot along very quickly. So that is rad. So, now we get to go talk to Feng again. As you walk into the tambour, you quickly spot Feng, arguing with Jenna. Approach. You come up behind Feng, and he turns and notices you. Jenna stops mid-tirade as you arrive. She turns to you. You again? You're here to vouch for this layabout? I am. She laughs. Well, what are you two up to? Feng winks at you and interjects. It's like I told you, Jenna. I'm helping them out, getting them settled, sorting their life out. They're a sleeper. You know what that means. Jenna softens. She looks a little embarrassed. Of course I know. She stops to think. Look, Fang, I get it. You're trying to help, but if you want to keep this job, you're going to need to be a little more reliable. Fang nods solemnly. Won't happen again, Jenna. I promise. She looks suspiciously between the two of you. Okay, then. She turns to you. And look, I didn't mean to. Just be cool, all right? She turns and walks back to the bar. Well, didn't know you'd stand up for me, Sleeper. Fang claps you on the back. I appreciate the solidarity. He takes out his slate, pulsing with pale light. Now let's take a look at what you're really here for. The slate is a whirring mess of code streams coming direct from the Ripper Worms as they dig through the agent's data and spin it into threads for the slate to pick up. Anything good? Fang scrolls the display with a finger. A lot of junk, a lot of dull as hell message threads, a lot of tedious data caches, but Fang's eyes flash. Definitely some good stuff. He stops the screen scrolling on an entry and expands it. Check this out. Fang shows you the screen. You see a bold corporate logo, not Solheim's, and a word below. Conway. Fang. He's working with Conway. Conway Extractions, right? Fang nods. He's been speaking with them, personally. Got a whole chain of messages here, but it's mostly encrypted or redacted. He rubs his head. Damn it, this is juicy, but we can't nail him with it. He scrolls some more. Wait. What's this? A wasteland reclamation facility? Right here on the eye. He glances at you. What's the bet this place is tucked into the wastes? The wastes? The section of the eye Erlen couldn't reclaim. It was too damaged, too cut off. Back before the collapse, people would have to go there by going down the connected spoke from the hub. But that spoke's broken now, so the only way is the long way. Round the rim, past the greenway. He shows you on his slate. Fang looks away, thinking. Conway have been making moves on the system since the collapse. I heard they took over one of Solheim's old belt colonies a while ago, moved everyone out, and reclaimed the whole rock. Why work with Hardin? Access? Old connections? Not sure. Fang looks back at the screen. But if Hardin is involved with it, then we need to check it out. Simple as that. So what's next? Fang stares out into the middle distance. We have to get to that facility. The answer to whatever Hardin has been planning, has to be there. And we're going to catch him in the act. Give me 5, maybe 6 cycles, and then I'll see you on the greenway. I seem to remember there's some old service docks on the outer shell, up by the Haifa building. Should be a good place to meet. Fang squeezes your shoulder. Thanks again, Sleeper, for sticking with this. I haven't forgotten about that tracker of yours either, but I'm going to need to be back in my bay to pull a solution together. He turns the slate around to face you, showing a massive scrolling code. I've been working on a fix in my brakes. He winks. Fang grins widely. Now I've just got to ask for some time off from Jenna. Wish me luck. Not the greatest time to ask for time off there, my guy. He waves as he walks back to the bar where Jenna is standing, a look of deep exhaustion in her eyes. So, we have advanced this. We're trying to track Conway. We've completed a step. We have an upgrade. It costs 2 upgrade points to get one of these second level abilities or take an action up to +2. But we can get one of these actions, or we can, I guess we can get one of these actions is what we can do, or we can wait and save it and try to get something up here. Sunbathed dice actions to recover energy is not bad because we don't have as much hacking to do anymore, and low actions on Sunbathe will still give you some energy. There's not a downside, I don't think. But I think it would be cool to wait and try to get something that's higher end, like maybe getting our engineer or intuit up to +2. So these drives, for folks who haven't seen the earlier ones, are kind of quest objectives, and completing them or making a major step on them will give you one of these upgrades, which is like the character advancement. So we have a 2. We're going to re-roll it. Still a 2. But we have the money, so now we can go over here. To reach the Greenway, we need to pay for a pass, a practice invented by the spacers moored here. They call it Founder's Ferry. So we can input a good chunk of money, which is a lot, but it unlocks a whole area of the game. So we crossed Greenway. And now, here's the whole thing. Look at all this. The wastes. So that's where we need to go. Gather scrap needs to be endure +1. Okay. Well, that tells us maybe what we could do. Endure is this. So we need to get 2 upgrades to get to +1. So we're going to take that. And then the next one we'll be able to do that. Haifa Commune, self-sustaining community. Interesting. So you can get in on this commune. You can work the canteen, or you can endure. Work the grow beds. With a +2. What are you? Service dock. Waiting for Fang. Okay. So that's clock's just going to fill on its own. Greenway. I can do this, but well, with a 3 is the thing. Well, actually, so we can take the ferry back, and then we can use this 2 to sunbathe. This is going to become a problem, though, because Ethan's going to come back and cause something terrible, probably. Alright, so we're going to take this 2 to sunbathe. Got a 50-50 chance of a better or a neutral outcome versus a bad outcome. So, neutral outcome is still +2 energy, which is cool. Works for me. Alright, that's our day. Look at that. Triple 6s. I don't know that I've ever had 3 6s in one day. Can I still deliver for them? No, I can manufacture noodles. Well, let's go over here and let's take our 6s and do some things. Greenway. See, this still requires a +1? Yeah. Alright, what other drives can we complete? Ship bind, sidereal ticket. Okay. It's probably the next thing we can do. Work for Rabia. The Yatagan are interesting because they are a kind of refugee community, mutual protection community, like group, but they're also a gang. They're both. Scrap components, eh? One mechanic tides a new filtration system for the block's atrium, and after you help install it, he offers you some of the remaining scrap, which is very nice, because scrap we can use to repair ourselves. And energy. Well, we can guarantee a positive outcome here. And we get a tick. And then we have 6 left. 1 6 left, which I'm going to take over here to the sidereal, which will advance this very long clock, which when we fill, maybe we can get Lem and Mina out of this terrible, terrible place. No, it's not that terrible. It can be terrible. Cool. +2 on that is great. Quick day. Just pursuing our various agendas. But I think today is the day that Ethan's clock runs out. So, yep. Here's this piece of shit. You miss me? Ethan smiles a ragged smile at you. Walk away. Ethan follows along and you notice he is limping. Come on, Sleeper. Just a little joke. I know you have a sense of humor. You look at him. He's paler than usual, hunched. He's sporting a black eye and more than a few cycles of beard growth. That's no way to greet an old friend. Get lost. Ethan's face drops, along with all pretense of friendliness. I think you'll want to hear this, Sleeper. I think, he says, rapidly shaking his head, you'll really want to hear this. Hear what? Ethan perks up. This is big, really big stuff about you. He seems more jittery than usual, on edge. You remember how S&ARP canceled that contract on you? The contract I was going to collect? Seriously, Ethan? Well, I'm guessing you were pretty happy about that shit. Overjoyed? Me? I lost everything, but let's not worry about that. He smiles sarcastically. And so, what did you think? That was it? I was just glad to be done with you. Oh, the feeling was mutual, except... Ethan leaves a dramatic pause. What if old S&ARP gave the bounty to somebody else? Someone who is even more of a shithead than yours truly. I love that it's exactly the same term that I used. He smiles darkly. What a disaster that would be. You're bluffing. Sure, you could think that, but you'll wake up, or not, with a bullet in your head one of these cycles. And if you could think, which you won't be able to because of the bullet, you'd be thinking, oh, I wish I'd listened to Ethan. He grins. Still hate this guy. Ethan fishes around in his pocket for a slip of paper. I've been speaking to some friends, you see, some colleagues, about what went down, and it turns out S&ARP canceled all their bounty contracts. The whole lot. It seems they brought someone in-house. Some guy who did such a good job on their last contract, they got offered a job. He leans in. Apparently he made a hit on this ship called the Winter Wonderland, or something. It was smuggling sleepers out from S&ARP's big corporate nose. He killed the crew and blew the ship. Ethan whistles. They called him Hemwick or Maywick or something? He gives up looking for the paper. I forget. You mean Winter Light? That's it. He looks at you hard. So you do know about all this. He pats you on the shoulder. Then you'll be very happy to hear what I'm about to offer you. Ethan runs his hands through his greasy hair. Given this new information I brought to light, it seems you are in need of protection. Wait for the pitch. I, meanwhile, am in need of assistance in kind. It turns out I upset some people at the compressor the last time we were there. The owners. They say they'll space me unless I work off the debt. It seems they are that kind of businessmen. He grimaces. I would pay them, but... He shrugs and turns his jacket pockets inside out in a mime of poverty. He looks pitiful, even more so for his clownish acting. Then work it off. You should be glad, the anger rising in him now, that I came here and I told you this. You think anyone is looking out for you? You're a contract, a name and a list. He kicks the wall. Ethan rubs his temples. I'm sorry, he hisses. I'm sorry for being a shit and trying to kill you and whacking that thick skull of yours. He sighs. But you think I want to go up against this guy? But us? He jabs a finger between the two of you. We don't have a choice. So you keep me from getting killed and I'll do the same for you. We can help each other. A straight 50-50 deal. He looks at you. I'm not asking for a favor. I'll think about it. Ethan nods. I'm at the compressor. Every cycle. Working. He pauses. Just think about Maywick. Think about that cold-eyed S&ARP shit on his way here from the core systems. He smiles. That should give you the motivation you need. Ethan swaggers off down the corridor, throwing his jacket over his shoulder. Can't wait to be working with you, he shouts. Still a piece of shit. No upgrade for that, just a new drive. Gain Ethan's protection. Okay. What do I do here? Work the front. Work the back. So this one is worth more off of his debt because the good result is +2 ticks, whereas this is always 1 tick no matter what, and that consistency is good, but danger is bad because it means I could get hurt. Well, I rerolled my dice and they came up garbage. Womp womp. Bad call. Alright. I can sunbathe, however. You take a few moments in the sun to boost your energy, but get restless quickly. So, it still gave me +1. And Maywick. Ethan says Maywick is on their way. You'll need to leave the station, get protection, or disable your tracker before they arrive. But this is a long clock that we see here. Is there hacking to do? Almost not. No hacking left. Here's a 2. Sidereal. Are these dangerous? This is dangerous. Plus 3 gives me 50, 25, 50, 25. Let's see. Okay. Not terrible for that one. And let's see, you don't have anything. Someone is coming. Someone is coming. Well, I guess here's the thing. Well, that's a 50-50, right? Let's look at what we can do over here on the other side in terms of our clocks. So here's Greenway. Dangerous. This one is risky. So this becomes a 50-50. We might lose energy, but we would gain ticks on going green. You map a section, but there is always an unexpected passage, a collapsed chamber ready to introduce chaos into your careful studies. So 1 tick, we did not get hurt. Okay. And I bet there's stuff to hack over here, is that right? A little bit. This requires a cipher. Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe I have to do other stuff before the nodes will open. Okay. And I don't have scrap for self-repair. Okay. So I would guess that clock is like the clock on Maywick is like 20 ticks. 20 cycles left. 3 dice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so 24. 1, 2, 4. We reroll 1, 2, 5. Slightly better. Let's go down here. Put this 5 in to become a 6. 2 ticks on that. Hey, scrap item. Very good. What if we do this? 50... Nah. Again. Don't know that I can get enough data for that to be worthwhile. 2 Havenage, and I have 0 Havenage data. Yatagan, I can't now. There's a 1. Okay, so we have 4 Yatagan data now, which is almost enough. So 2, we have this one needs a 1. So with a 2, let's go ahead and do sunbathing, because that can't get us anything bad. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. So we only get the +1. Four, 4, 6. Very good. And we can self-repair. Gets us up there, which, if we get 1 more, will give us a 4th die tomorrow. But we can go down here. Put a 5 in, becomes a 6, 50-50 between positive and neutral. So 1 tick there, 2 ticks left to fill. But I'm gonna go this way. And where's the compressor plug? Compressor plug is here. Yep. Dangerous, so let's do 100% chance. 2 ticks. And then let's go over here. Cross. And then... now we can go to the farm stacks. That's endure or engage. So we go to Greenway, map the pathways. With Intuit, we get +1. You see the corporate order beneath the leaves and rot, and the bright inventions of the Greenway's plants have wrapped around this structure. So we got +2 on going green. Exploring the Greenway is unlike any other place in the Eye. Its overgrown chambers defy mapping. But we need some energy here, which means, let's see, we'd have to, oh, we can get shrooms for Emphas. So let's go back across and buy some food. Should get us 2 ticks of energy. 3, very nice. Okay. Hello, the kids are asleep. Guess what? Ethan came back, and he's in trouble, and he needs our help, but he wants to help us. He's slightly less terrible, but still a piece of shit. Of course he does. Agreed. These 5s on anything that I get +1 becomes a 6, which is a guaranteed success. And I think that 2 will let us get Yatagan data, which then we can sell, right? Okay, map the pathways. 100% chance. Going green. Okay. We didn't meet a person. New drive discovered. Grow mushrooms. Ah. The aviary would be a perfect place to grow some mushrooms with some work, that is. Aviary, eh? Clear overgrowth. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I feel like there's a whole run you could do just in the Greenway, and I haven't really been doing that. Alright, so Fang will be ready in 1 more day, it looks like. We've done this. We've got mushrooms. Do we gather mushrooms here? Is that what we do? We do. We can get grove spores. Yeah, there's a lot here. Like, you could just go and try to join a commune and like have that be your life. Alright, let's find, yep, here we go. So we got again, no, we need a 1. That's very funny. So with a 5, we can finish this clock and hopefully get Lemon Mina a ticket off this rock. The vast colony ship is coming together block by block. Each cycle you see another piece slot in place. And now, it's done. In the shipyard. Your crew slowly filters out of the shipyard locker room, the bubbling chatter reducing with each group that leaves. There is excitement in the air. Haven Edge just made an announcement. The assembly teams are done. Sat on the locker room bench, you can feel the sidereal out there, its hulking mass now intimately familiar to you. Over the past cycles, you've watched it grow, be assembled. You've walked through its veins and welded its bones. Now it is ready for the final stage. It will go to testing now, then enter a final process of sealing and resealing, checking and rechecking before it's deemed suitable for its generational trip. But for now, your work is done. You can't help but feel proud. A cough interrupts your thoughts. It's Lem, changing out of his work gear, Mina nowhere to be seen. He smiles. She'll be ready soon. Where's Mina? You two are fast friends, huh? She's been being watched at home. Now I'm on the work team, I can afford a bit more help. He corrects himself. Was on the work team. I mean, we're all out of a job now. He quickly adds, not that I'm complaining. He comes to sit beside you at the bench. She's going to be in her best shape when she carries you, me, and Mina out of here. So confident? Lem smiles apologetically. Well, not. Why not? I figure I'm due a lucky turn by now. He rubs his hands nervously. No use in wondering, what if? Until the draw, anyway. And there's a few cycles till then. Lem is right, but the odds seem unlikely anyway. How many are working in the shipyard? Hundreds? 1,000? You've certainly seen more faces than you can count and pass through. And are the Celis Foundation even going to keep their promise? Out here on the Eye, you get the sense that no one will hold them to it. Why else would they be building the sidereal in a surrogate system? As you think, Lem watches you with a worried look. How's Mina doing? Lem is surprised by the question, but smiles. She's doing well. She misses having you over. Actually, I need to get the two of you together again. Soon, especially since I won't see you here either. Lem gazes into space. She's pretty stuck on you, actually. She told me the other cycle that she doesn't want to go unless you can come too. He sighs. You ever been in a thunderstorm, Sleeper? A real big one? I don't remember. Lem shoots you a worried look for a moment. It's something else. He smiles. The sound, the smell, the rain hammering down. The whole sky stretched out and bruised, roaring and huge. The place I was born, New Pembroke, dry old rock in a Conway system, had 2 seasons. One of them was dry as a bone, dusty, ugly. The other was long storm. One long storm, a side effect of the terraforming efforts, they said. Rain used to rattle off those roofs like bullets. It washed the dust away, turned the streets to rivers. It'd sing us to sleep and wake us in the morning. We'd wait half a year just to see it again. The best day was one where the first drops fell. He sniffs. Some days I wake up swearing I can hear it again. I was thinking, Mina's never seen a storm, never even felt rain. She's grown up here, the ring her only horizon, always in the dark. I want to change that for her. I feel like things are not going to go great, but I don't know enough about Lem to know whether it's going to happen. So I will try to be encouraging. Of course. Almost there. Lem stands, stretching. Best get back to the little one anyway. With the shifts done, I reckon she'll be happy to have me home for a few cycles. He shoulders his gear. See you in a few for the draw? I'll be there. Right on. He grins. Lem leaves, making you the last person in the cavernous locker room. As you sit, you think about rain, and a little hope creeps in. Is it possible? Could the sidereal really take you to a planet? A place with weather, with skies, with life? You get up quickly, before you can think about it anymore. It's too soon to hope, too dangerous. There's work to be done. Drive? No. What the? Oh, I guess win a ticket is the drive. It will take 6 days before the drawing. Hey, that turns into a 6. So we can go here and help this piece of shit. You know what I could have done though? I could go and get Yatagan on my side, and then I would have protection. Actually, we want 5, but I can do this. You help a dentist running a surgery from their unit with their equipment. They offer you a restorative infusion, and you feel better immediately. That's cool. And I've got stuff. It's not time for Fang yet, right? Nope, one more day. Feeling better immediately is very nice. I wonder if there's a whole other area up the smoke. I feel like this game is much bigger than I'm giving it credit for, or than I have explored thus far. Alright, back down to 3 dice. Maywick is at 4 ticks. I have stabilizer, but if I can do this self-repair, that would be great. Alright, there's stuff here now. I can buy scrap. I can buy scrap. Hell yeah, let me buy scrap. Oh, I got a ship mind. Fantastic. Or fragment. Okay. So that's all that they will sell me. What about you? What will you sell me? You will sell me a ship mine fragment. Okay, this is most of my money, but now I can get a third ship mined, which means I can go to the Ort Fabricator. I can put these 3 in here, and I can get a ship mine for Ankita. The fabricator whirs and crackles as it assembles the ship mine. It opens to reveal completed but heavily dented unit. All right. I don't know what Ankita's been doing for the last month. You drop the huge cylinder onto the messroom table. Ankita can't hide her excitement. Hey, there's the drive. You drop the ship mine core onto the galley table with an emphatic bang. Ankita spins around from where she's been poring over some documents on her slate. Holy shit, Sleeper, did you actually land a ship mine? She rushes over and hefts the huge cylinder, turning it back and forth. Well, shit, it might actually work. She smiles wider than you've ever seen. Where'd you get it? Built it, bought it, it's kind of the same. Bought it. For 100 cryo? You must be good at haggling. Ankita bangs on the galley wall. Hear that, Amber? The Sleeper got you a new ship bind. The sound echoes down the ship's passages. You have to admit, being in a small space with Ankita when she's excited is a little intimidating. Ankita puts the ship mine back on the table. I'll start the process of fitting it as soon as I can. I might need your help with some of it. She heads back toward the counter to grab her slate. This isn't the only good news today, either. Looks like my good karma is finally coming in. She throws the slate on the table and spins it so you can see the screen. Take a look at this. You see a list of names and numbers? Nothing that exciting. Along with what looks like a transit timetable. I found them. Who what? The thieves? Exactly. Well, the thief singular. She points at a name on the list. Or more specifically, Ashton Cade. It was his past that was used to access Amber and slice the ship mine. I thought he might have been killed or robbed, his past stolen, but it turns out he crossed the Founder's Gap the very next cycle. Founder's Gap? That big rift in the station? You can't cross it without the Founder's Ferry. She leans back in her seat. I know some of the crew over at the ferry, old mercs. Used to run in an outfit I worked on. I saw them in the Overlook and they mentioned they saw Ashton cross it. I checked the manifests, and there he was. Looks suspicious. He hasn't said a word since the theft, and anyone wanting to hide out might head to Greenway and go to ground. She flexes. He won't go far, though. There's no real docks out there, only a couple of jetties in the wastes. Going after him? Not yet. First I want to fit the ship mine. She pauses. But maybe you could help me out? Where's this going? It's like this. I head over there, especially in Amber. He'll spot me a mile off and go underground. Find a way to slip the station or bury himself so deep in the wastes no one will ever find him. But you? Ashton doesn't know you. All I need is for you to go there and sniff around. Not at the commune, not the stacks. You'll have gone to the edges, the margins, the wild places. That's what Ashton likes. You see him? You locate him? Pay me on this. She hands you a commier piece. Seeing as this is merc work, I'll be happy to give you merc pay. She shifts in her seat. Thing is, I haven't got much left. So how about I tell the boys who run the ferry to give you a discount? I know it's not much, but once I grab this coward, I'll pay up. 200 cryo, nothing less. What do you say? She meets your eye. Okay. She gives you a heavy whack on the shoulder. Good. I owe you. So if you complete this before you go over the ferry, then you get the ferry for cheaper, I would imagine. She lifts the ship mine onto her shoulder with worrying ease. I'm going to go get this fitted into Amber's core. You get any info, any sense of where Ashton is hiding? Let me know. She goes to turn and then stops. And once again, the Sleeper, thank you. I appreciate it. Ankita stops off into the guts of Amber with a ship mine, leaving you in the galley. You glance around, a sudden nervous energy descending at what is to come. You never thought you'd get work as a mercenary. But then again, seems the eye is full of surprises. Alright. And it's a 3 that I need for this last data, because I have this. Yeah. I don't know why +1 lets a 3 become a 1, but sure. Okay. But even on a neutral outcome, I have data, which means I can go to here, and I can fence 5 data. That's enough for now, Sleeper. I have some other things to attend to. So now we have 2 stabilizer, which means I can probably go ahead and use one. And that'll help the next few days go better because I'll get more dice. Cross to Greenway. Alright, where am I poking around? So there's Fang. Wild margins. Look for tracks. Okay. But first, let's talk to our very cheery, potentially doomed friend. When you enter the service dock, Fang is already set up, crouched among stacks of equipment. He's leaning over a terminal, bathed in a blue glow. So we're back to this look for Fang, not the one in hiding. He looks totally at home. Sleeper, what do you think? Turns out not everyone in Havenage is set against me. A couple of my old systems pals managed to get me some of my old gear. He gestures at the pile of blinking hardware. Nice kit. Fang does a mock bow. What are we looking at? One massive smoking gun. He raises his eyebrows. Fang beckons you over. He has a set of scans of the wastes on his terminal, with heat maps of activity overlaid. A chunk of the derelict rim is splotchy, with bright red and orange marks. Does this look like a wasteland to you? Fang shakes his head. There's hundreds of Conway machines out there, all lined up in concealed hangars, and a whole underground facility to support them. Hardin has got a crew out there putting together. He must have shipped them in piece by piece through the shipyard, ready for assembly out there. Machines? That's Conway's whole thing. Remote-operated vehicles, drones, cutters, salvage haulers, the full set. Maybe Hardin masked this whole thing as an effort to clean up the wastes, but there's no way this is about pulling scrap off the eye. Fang looks worried. And why is Conway in the mix? I bet no one in Havenage knows a corporation is setting up on the station. They aren't jerk... I don't want to use that word. These scans are the best info I can get. The waste is cut off from the eye's cloud of networks, and the Greenway's a total dark zone. No data can come in or out. I can try. No use. You need to enter the cloud, and there's no cloud to speak of. He turns and winks. That's why I'm going to pay him a visit. Yeah, I think it's better. I still hear people talk about that word as like still on the spectrum of ableism, so it's hard to know. Like when I went in to do my proofs on Geekomancy and Celebromancy for the reissues, I tried to take all that language out, and for some stuff I will replace like wild or ridiculous or like ludicrous for the unbelievable, like unwise kinds of stuff. But we just have to keep on making language to be able to replace harmful stuff with better stuff. Too risky. You forget, Havenage come in and out of there all cycle. I should be able to get in, as long as no one I know sees me. He grimaces playfully. But I need you on the outside to help disable security systems and cut me a pathway through. There's no cloud access, but if I can get inside, I can open up the nodes in their network, and we can work in tandem. It's a massive facility buried deep down there. Miles of corridor and ventways wrapped around cargo bays and hangars, so it'll take more than a few cycles to work through. But as long as you can keep them off my back, I know what we need to get out of there. I can rip what we need out of there. He pulls a handful of ripper worms from his pocket and hands them to you. These are the last of my little helpers I managed to salvage, so make them count. I modified them slightly. This time they'll feed their data threads back into the system that they're tunneling into, creating this nasty little feedback loop. We run it just like we did with the agents. Hack the nodes, I ping the ports for the security system, then slot the worms in those systems, and let them go to town. He points to a fuzzy silhouette of the buried facility on the terminal. Here's the entryway. This is where you can get access and slot the first worm. That'll fry their perimeter systems and get me past the first cordon. What I need from you is to keep your eyes on the facility after you kick things off. You see me pop up a security system, a server bank, you need to break in and slot a ripper to disable it as soon as you can. If I can't? Fang gives you a hard look. You miss a system, you wait too long, they're gonna find me. Simple as that. He claps you on the shoulder. I need you focused on this one, so I'm gonna let you fire the starting gun. I won't go until you slot that first worm. I'll leave a tracker running on the terminal here, so come back here if you want to see my progress. He affectionately pats the top of the screen. This sounds risky. Risky? This is audacious, at least, he grins. Wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't. Fang gets up. It's all in place. You just need to make your own preparations, then slot that worm. He stretches. Just don't wait too long. I'm getting bored of all the sneaking around. Once I'm inside, I'll get the proof we need to end this whole thing, no matter what. He crouches to check the terminal. We can't take longer than 6 cycles on this thing. Remember that. He stands up. Oh, and one last thing. He lowers his voice. If I get caught, or you can't reach me, or we run out of time, there's one thing I need you to do. Yep. Don't talk like that. Just listen, he hisses. You never seen Fang so serious. You take whatever I have managed to pull out at the point, all that data, and you slot that stuff straight into the relay I've set up here. He points to a pile of servers and terminals, hooked to the dock with cables as thick as your arm. I repurposed the clock's SOS broadcast system to beam out whatever you put in it. Anyone with a terminal, a slate, or a server on the eye will see it. That means Havenage, Yatagan, the hub, everyone. No matter what, Hardin isn't snaking away this time. He grins. I've got a bit more to do here, but the moment you slot that first worm, I'll make my move. He gives you a parting smile and then turns back to the terminal. The nerves hit as you make your way out of the service dock. Time to prepare yourself. What could possibly go wrong? A lot. Gather scrap. That requires this, which means I guess do this. Conway access. Slot removal. Okay. There's no timer on this, which means I'm going to wait until the next day because I'm going to take stabilizer and go up to 5 dice. 1 point. All right, I'm going to wait on... Oh, I can get Endure to 2. What was the action I needed that for? Look for tracks, interface. Guess it was... No? Okay. What's the next drive I can do? Sidereal ticket. Maybe. Or work for Rabia. Because the sidereal is done. And I have scrapbook components, which I can sell, or I could use to build, actually. So the idea here is that I'm fixing up an abandoned apartment unit. You took the scrap into the shattered interior. It's hard to imagine this place as a home, but it can't be worse than a container. Because those are my options right here, right now. Stay in a shipping container, basically, or scrap components. But I get a +1 here. You help a destitute man to the tambour's kitchen, where they feed him freely. You stay behind with the chefs and sample the dishes. Very nice. You go here. Among the craftsmen and merchants, you visit a chef who insists on feeding you and the other enforcers a rich stew of his own recipe. This gang doesn't seem so bad. I have to imagine that there are some more, like, doing bad gang things results somewhere in here. But I am pleased that on the inside they seem to be operating a lot more like groups that get called gangs by the people who would rather that, a game of helping people. Yeah, like, oh no, it's a gang of mutual support, direct action neighbors. You know, the Black Panthers, a gang. They weren't a gang. Yeah, a gang of librarians helping distribute books. Upright Women Needed by Sarah Gailey. That book is good. Alright, let's go back here. And it's time for stabilizer. Don't tell the deep secrets no one else knows. Well, we wouldn't want to disturb the powerful by peacefully protesting outside their houses when they're threatening to eviscerate civil rights. That just wouldn't be proper. Gun control is totally okay as long as it's against the right people. Yep, that sounds like the U.S. government's response to the Black Panthers at the time. We're just going to assassinate these leaders and arrest those leaders. And this militant group of Black civil rights and mutual aid people just kind of gone away. Yeah, I like how the neighbor was handing out snacks at the protest and letting people park at their house. I also heard that maybe that neighbor or a same neighbor was like, you can use my restroom. So, A+ job to that neighbor in this regard. Ooh, 2 6s. But that's Ashton. I'm going to kick it off. Sliding this first room will allow Feng access to this facility. You'll need to be ready to give this all your attention. The worm tunnels in and starts looping data through the node. The Conway facility opens to you. Godspeed, Feng. The cloud. As you slot the worm, a thread jumps out of the facility, unspools in front of you, releasing its data like ink in water. Sleeper. Feng's voice crackles through. Moving in. I'm in. Hacker voice. Nodes, then ports. A whir of interference. Slot the worms. Timer starts now. Stay safe. The thread dissipates. You're on your own now. Also very, very nervous. I don't have that. I could roll my dice later. Alright, so that doesn't work. And I can't do a 4. Alright. So, I am going to use this 6 on this, because that will give me +3. And then I'm going to use my other 6, and then I'm going to re-roll those 3 dice, and hope to get a 3. Alright, so there's a 3. Or was it a 2? It was a 2. So here's a 3. Bypass. Okay. F1 port located. Ripper worm. The first layer of security, a ring of doors around the central facility. Time to open them up. The Ripper worm creates its feedback loop, overloading the security system. Okay, step 1. I do have a 4. Both the S-layer nodes will need to be extracted before the port will be open. Is there time? Okay. And I guess I have to hit this one too. So this one needs a 5 or a 3, and I don't have that. So I'm going to have to come back the next day, but Feng said 6 days. So we need to do it in 5, I would guess. Rabia, do you have something that's minus energy? Intuit, +1. Okay. You help a destitute man to the Tambur's kitchens. Okay, yeah, so that's that one we've had before. Hey, look at this. As you say your goodbyes to the other enforcers and walk back through the low end, a chirping catches your attention. In a quiet corridor, away from the main thoroughfares, someone has stuck a small recorder to the wall with suit sealant tape. Written across the fluorescent tape is one word: sleeper. You peel it away from the wall, and as you do it, it triggers some kind of improvised trip switch. Sleeper, Sabine's voice crackles through. I've seen you with the Yatagan members. Are they holding you captive too now? Or now too? A high whine. I'm sorry if I've dragged you into this. Do not trust them. Something is happening within the gang, some kind of power struggle. You cover the speaker a little, their voice too loud in the quiet corridor. I will come soon. Thanks to your efforts, I've located most of their properties. At the right time. A pause. I'll see you soon. Don't give up. Remember our deal. The recording cuts out. You stare at the recorder, processing what you've heard. Hearing Sabine's voice again opens up something inside of you. An SMR employee. Do I know what they know? Do they know what I know? You struggle with a mix of concern and distrust. You throw the recording into a nearby waste chute as you leave the corridor, still unsure who to trust, and head quietly out of the low end. A tangled web. Scrap. Yeah, I blew a lot of money. I don't have a lot. I don't have much to throw around. Okay, that's a decent spread for hacking. Let's jump right back to Theo's office. Alright, so this is only a 50-50. I thought that was a little early. Let's see what our hacking options are. This is Conway. Ah, right. This is the 6 days. Okay. On sec. Here is a 3. Bypass. The inner S-layer security is more complex. One access point won't be enough to locate the port. Okay, we got the S1 port location. Ripperjack. The second layer controls the Conway drones tasked with patrolling the hangars. Ripperworm fries the drone's network link. Now they can't report anything. Okay. So we can use a 4 here, which let's do that just in case. 3 nodes to locate the final port, then Fang will be in. Not much time left. Well, we have actually a decent amount of time, depending on what these other requirements are. And 2. This one needs a 6 or a 5. This node is buried deep in the wastes. This has to be the final security layer. Hold on, Fang. Okay. And this one. This one takes a 5 or a 3. Okay, we don't have either of those. We'll have to wait until tomorrow. How many nodes are on this layer? You've never seen such tight security before. Makes me think that something is going on. Wild margins, interface, risky. Ooh, you know what? You're low on energy, but rather than hiking around this wilderness, you can make use of your skills, tap into the cloud, and find Ashton by signals. Let's see. Alright, 1 tick on tracking Ashton. But now we are low on everything, and I'm going to zip back, and I think I'm going to sunbathe with this 1, because we can't, a bad thing cannot happen with the sunbathing, only a less good thing. Okay. Yep. So we got the less good option, but we can go here, we can buy rations. That gets us to 5. Then we leave. Nope. Then we complete active scenes. Whose scenes? Oh, we have a scene over here. Yeah, Lem and Mina. Okay, that's not done yet. So I'm guessing this is Lem like, come over for dinner. Mina misses you. Nope, it's the lottery. The crowds have already gathered by the time you get to the shipyard, and you recognize faces among them. People you've worked with alongside the sidereal. The intervening cycles have turned their excitement to anxiety, and few of them smile at you. Instead, the nervous energy of the crowd fills the space, creating a feedback loop of growing tension. Yeah, this is rough. You pick out Lem and Mina and work your way over to them, pushing through the crowd. He silently raises his eyebrows at you, his anxiety obvious, but Mina flashes you a huge smile, unaware of the tension. "Robot!" she calls out, reaching to you. "Hi, Mina." She waves frantically, grinning. "Quite the turnout, eh?" Lem glances around, pulling Mina close. "I don't think patience is one of this crowd's strengths." The sound of an argument toward the back catches your and Lem's attention. He's putting it lightly. This place seems set to explode. "This isn't good." Lem doesn't dare answer, but the look in his eyes suggests he agrees. "This is Angster Enghart of the Celis Foundation." The announcement echoes from the speakers at the shipyard entrance, and shouts of "Quiet!" rapidly follow. "I'm sorry I can't be there to meet you all, and thank you on behalf of Sandra Celis for the work you have done for the Sidereal Horizon." Most of the crowd strains to see Aster's face, but the small display shows only a ghostly white figure, smudged and unclear. "Sindri wanted me to pass on her personal thanks for your commitment to and belief in the Celis Foundation's mission. We chose the Eye for this project because we knew that we would find like-minded individuals here, especially among the ranks of the venerable Havenage Association. Unlike most of the Corps, we neither believe Erlin's Eye to be a threat or a rogue state, but instead an embryo for the formation of a new, decentralized social structure. One where each citizen might be the master of their own destiny." "Bullshit! I don't believe you a little bit." A ripple of impatience runs through the crowd. They didn't come here for a sermon. "You are all pioneers, just like those core citizens who the Sidereal Horizon will carry in cryosleep to the planet that will become the Foundation's first frontier world, Celis 1. At the mention of the destination world, excited conversations break out among the workers. "There, our citizens will be able to create their own innovative, bottom-up economic order aligned with the principles set down by Sandra Celis herself: freedom, resilience, and self-sustenance. This is all thanks to your tireless efforts in the Havenage Jars. As a reward for those efforts, you may know that we are offering a select group the opportunity to join the caretakers of this vision, the staff of the Sidereal Horizon, who will maintain the vessel through its multi-decade transit through interstellar space." Lem turns to you, his eyes bright. "This is it." "This draw has been performed at random by the central AIs of the Foundation and is final and binding. Please note, only licensed contractors of the Foundation are eligible for this draw. I know you have all been eagerly awaiting this day, and without further delay, I will now read the Celis identification numbers for those chosen for this great honor." A murmur runs through the crowd. Celis identification numbers? Licensed contractors? You've never heard the term mentioned. Is this something you were supposed to be assigned? You glance at Lem, but his eyes are fixed forward, wide and shimmering. All around you, people are speaking in hushed tones, like a rising wave. Aster starts reading out sequences of numbers and letters, and panic begins to set in. No one seems to know what's happening. Somewhere near the front of the crowd, someone shouts in celebration, and everyone pushes forward. "Lem?" You turn to see Lem is staring forward. Mina is scared now as the shouts start. "Daddy?" Someone throws something at the entrance and it rattles against the shipyard doors. You see for the first time Havenage security stood on either side, scared, arguing between themselves. You feel the anger rising in the crowd. "Lem, let's go." He doesn't move. They might call out names. I can't." Mina tugs at his dog tag. "It's not happening." Lem blinks rapidly, then turns to you. He opens and closes his mouth and looks down at Mina. He sees the fear in her eyes and understands. It's time to go. As you lead Lem and Mina out, shoving people aside, As you do, you hear the sound of scuffles emerging at the front of the crowd, of metal canisters bouncing off shipyard walls. You keep your head down and walk away, the sound of Aster reading off the ciphers echoing above the chaos, like some strange mantra. When you turn to Lem, there are tear tracks running down his eyes, and Mina is sniffling into his jacket. You feel the sadness rising in you, too. They screwed you. Screwed all of you. You were never even on the list. The feeling is as unpleasant as it is familiar. You stare ahead into the tunnel as the security sirens sound out, a signal for the coming violence. Yep. Fuck those people. Alright, so where's the... Is there going to be more plot line for these two? Lem and Mina's unit. Lem's out. There's a note on the door of the unit. Sleeper, gone to find work. Lem. So yeah, safe for now. I, however, have some bad things coming for me. And I have not done a lot for what's-his-face, because I've been focusing on the hack. I like all of the clocks ticking beside one another, so I'm really feeling like stuff is escalating, and I'm torn between a bunch of different things. And that's very cool. I mean, it's not great for the sleeper because problems, but it's very fun dramatically. So many clocks. A game after my own heart. Clocks, clocks, clocks. All right, 2 ticks out of 6. We have... What's left? This one takes a 5. We've got a 5. We don't have a 3, but that's fine. Okay. Port location. Consec port X. Last Ripper. The final layer controls surveillance. With this down, Feng should be able to control this facility's cameras. Oh, Feng. Please don't get yourself murdered. The cloud. A thread from the facility cuts through the cloud like a hairline crack of light. That's it, the final layer of security broken. Somewhere buried in the depths of the station, Feng is in control. He's slicing into the camera control units and piping out the result. The thread flickers and unravels into an image, a scene, 2 figures in a room, one sat, the other pacing. The pacing figure resolves into Hardin. The unmistakable superior posture, the shock of gray hair. The second figures don't seem to resolve. They're vague, unformed. A problem with the data, perhaps? You look closer. Then you see it. The figure is a proxy. Perhaps you should have expected it from Conway, a corporation whose very existence is owed to automation. The proxy is a machine designed to be piloted by remote connection, someone elsewhere in the system puppeteering it with their own body, speaking so it may speak. The proxy sits impassively, or the Conway executive that's piloting them does, from the distant safety of some ship or orbital colony, perhaps. We can move forward, there is no doubt, Hardin is saying. The reclamation teams are almost ready, and after that I will make the declaration. Nothing has to change. The proxy leans forward, its movement stilted, uneven, as though its body language was refracted through water. But things must change, Hardin. We need further assurances. I've been informed of a breach in one of the closed networks in the low end. You have been careless. Hardin waves the accusation away. We have been stretched. A breach was detected, yes, but no data of value was lost. Our board is concerned, Hardin. A drop in our value would be unwelcome at this time. The proxy leans back, its posture dominant. If the reclamation of Ether 1 is contested, then we could be drawn into a compromised legal position. Compromising, but close. Hardin approaches the proxy. There will be no contest, not from Solheim, who cannot muster a defense, not from Havenage, who will fall in line below me. He crouches in front of the seating figure, eye to eye. And the people of this station? Refugees, gangs, spacers, all either opportunists or degenerates. Havenage is no longer strong, no longer united. No one here believes in Erlin's vision, nor has the strength to enact it. So close to what you're setting for a novel. Is like, hopefully it is people who play this game will be excited to read that novel. Right? I sat across from him at the negotiating table. He was forceful, eager, weakened by his ideological convictions, perhaps, but a great man nonetheless. This place no longer deserves to bear his name. The eye is wounded. It cannot survive. It is a ruin filled with squatters and outlaws. They will be lucky if it spins in 100 cycles. Hardin stands. You will move forward with this reclamation, because otherwise you will lose your advantage in this system. Without your advantage, you will lose claims on the remaining palladium. Without the palladium, your factories will need to go dark. He pauses. Do I need to continue? One moment comes the response from the proxy, and its head drops to its chest. Hardin steps back and paces once more, awaiting the discussion taking place elsewhere in the system. You watch Hardin as he paces, as he considers his future. What goes on within a mind like that? Is this the mind of a man who would burn all... in the mind of a man who would burn all those around him for a path to some imagined golden end? The proxy lifts his head. We are happy to proceed. We will legally claim the station formerly known as Solheim Ether 1 as salvage within 6 cycles. Havenage is to assist with the transport of illegal residents to Conway housing and labor facilities. The proxy judders to its feet. Conway will also claim 70% of the raw output of the reclamation process after losses have been accounted for. Hardin nods. I accept. The proxy reaches out to shake his hand like a marionette, and then the recording loops. You watch it play out a second time, gripped by a horrified fascination. There is a bluntness to the conversation, to its blatant disregard for humans as anything other than objects. Things to be moved, to be used, to be fed into structures, crushed, and losses accounted for in the cells of tables, the margins of ledgers. You realize now that you are no different from anyone else in the station in the eyes of the people of that room and those like them. Each body here can be recast as a piece of property, a tool, an expense, an acceptable loss. In one moment they can be named a citizen, celebrated, protected, and another the very idea of citizen can be used against them. That is what it means to live in proximity to a system like this. No longer, not while the eye spins. You gather the recording, pack it into a polygon of purest light. Then you drift down into the service dock like a falling leaf and find the relay. It only takes a second to place that polygon of data, that recording, into the relay system Feng prepared, and then you watch as it bursts out, a web of threads heading out into the black, to every networked device on the eye. Let them see what power makes of a man. That's an upgrade point. Icebreaker. Oh, well, look, Icebreaker. But I don't know that we need that, but it will get us to +2 on interface. Okay, and hey, look, we have dice left. So we can endure +1. Oh, that's the thing we needed to do. We needed the endure for and the more wastes. But we can do this for search for signals. Energy is fine because we can sunbathe for energy. Tracking Ashton. Hey, look, that clock is full. And here's Ankita. The trail ahead extends deep into an overgrown section of the Greenway. At this far end of the ring, where the long, lazy curve of the Greenway becomes the shattered, wet landscape of the wastes, things are oddly quiet. Ahead stands a vast farm stack, broken from its axis by rust or force, and lying amongst the overgrown landscape like an ancient temple. It is stained with moss and algae, flows of green running out from its broken tanks like a frozen, brackish tide. This is where Ashton is hiding, we're pretty sure. All your intuition points to the shadows beneath this collapsed superstructure. You roll the comm headset Ankita gave you in your palm. Call Ankita. You slip the headset into your ear and it fizzes with static. After a few moments you hear Ankita. Sleeper? Have you located the target? A doubt enters your mind. Can you be sure he is here? Yes, come now. Copy. Hold tight until I get there. The static cuts out, the channel dead. You hold your position and watch the trail. Ahead the stars wheel and wheel with the motion of the eye, and your mind wanders. You try to imagine what this place looked like before the collapse. All ordered rows of crops, corporate pleasure gardens, glowing farm stacks. Now it is a wilderness, a strange overgrown biosphere bordered by the void of space. You smile. Despite everything, it seems like an improvement. Sleeper, Ankita's hiss brings you out of your reverie. He in the collapsed stack? I think so. She gives you a look. You better be right. Well, there's no way I'm following that trail. If he's up there, he'll have his eyes on that for sure. She glances across the landscape. Let's keep to that undergrowth, work our way around. She heads off toward the central spine of the greenway with you following close behind. It's slow going there, where the overgrowth meets the metal wall, but it is so concealed that you can barely see the glass roof high above. Ankita somehow seems to know where to go. Ankita works her way through the dense undergrowth, pushing aside branches and fronds. It's exhausting and you desperately want to rest, but Ankita shows no signs of letting up. Up ahead there is a faint glow from the collapsed stack. Ankita leads you around the side to a broken tank. You both step through the opening, trying to avoid the broken glass that sits among the moss and algae. You work your way up the slanted tank, Ankita setting a deliberate pace. Somewhere water drips, and you swear you heard birdsong. Hanging plants catch the light, coating the place in a pale and sickly green. Ankita reaches the edge of the tank where it reaches the central drum and holds up a hand for you to stop. You inch forward and look over the edge. The vast drum is like a cistern, with plants growing on all sides and wet mossy islands at its base. It is beautiful, and for a moment you can't see anything but tones of green. Then you see the sleeper. In a faint circle of light, descending down through the drum, the sleeper lies slumped at an odd angle. They're surrounded by crates, and beside them, on one of the mossy islands, there is an object, a cylinder set on a tarp. It's connected to the sleeper's head. You flinch. Are they one of the others? One of the ones that escaped with you? You squint, trying to recognize them. They are twisted, broken open, wrong. You look away. The Ankita doesn't look at you. She doesn't look at the sleeper. She fixes her eyes on the object. That's Amber's shipmind, she says, and you suddenly recommend the cylinder. Wait. You turn to Ankita to speak, but she is already gone. She drops off the edge of the tank and lands on one of the mossy islands, her armor letting out a hiss as it absorbs the impact. The shot hits her shoulder piece, the ceramic armor cracking but holding as she braces into the impact. Then she launches herself forward, the now activated armor launching her across the drum. Another shot goes wide before she reaches the cover of the crates beside the sleeper. Shit! You hear the shout from one of the tanks high on the far wall, and Ankita reaches over and wraps a hand around the thick connection between the ship mine and the sleeper. What is she doing? You better come down here or I'll rip this right out of your head! She screams at the wall of tanks. You shiver at the suggestion. Stop! Quiet, sleeper! Ankita shouts. A shot rips through the moss beside you, filling your vision with green. The shooter must be somewhere on the other side of the tank. Do that again and I swear to God I'll tear their head off! Ankita shouts to them. Sleeper, you stay down! There's a long pause. All you can hear is the dripping of the water running down the walls of the drum. Then Ashton calls out. I'm coming down, Ankita. Don't do anything ridiculous for God's sake. He appears at the far side of the drum, stepping through the shallow water, rifle raised above his head. So this is Ashton, disgraced mercenary. It looks like maybe taking care of a sleeper. Drop the gun, Ankita shouts. He throws it down onto the moss. As you lean out to watch, you see him catch your eye, clocking your presence. What are you up to, here, Ashton, you sicko? She stands, keeping her sidearm trained on his head. You ripped my ship mine for what? Some experiment? Ashton approaches with shaking hands, his eyes now fixed on the connecting bundle of wires that Ankita still has hold of. Steady, Ankita. It isn't like that. I needed the ship mine. You have to understand. They would have died without it. What are you talking about? I don't give a shit why you ripped my ship mine and crippled my ship. I should put you down right now. She tightens her grip on the connection. Typical, Ankita. No curiosity. Ashton smiles shakily. That's why I never asked for it, for your help. You only look after yourself. He nods at you. That sleeper up there? They're just bait, right? To draw me out? Ankita sucks a breath in. Are you trying to give me more reasons to shoot you? I love them, Ankita. Ashton looks at the crumpled sleeper. I love them and they were going to die. I knew you would never understand that. He starts closing the gap between himself and Ankita now, slowly inching forward. Don't do that, Ashton. Ankita snarls. Don't do that. Let the wires go, Ankita. Let us go. If you don't get out of my way, he inches closer. Please. I can't let you take it, Ashton. Ankita hardens her stare. You stole it from me. You left me for dead. She stares at her. She shakes her head. You think I'm going to trust you after all that? I need it, Ankita. I need them to survive. Ashton is in reach of the sleeper now, of Ankita. I'm gonna take them now, Ankita. He raises a hand. I'm gonna take the ship mind and go. Ankita loosens her grip on the connection a little. Her hand is shaking now. Stop, Ashton. She lowers the gun a little. Stop! Seeing her drop her guard, he makes his move. A blur of movement, a struggle, a shot, another. You recoil back behind the edge as they ricochet around the inside of the drum, the sound deafening. When you crawl back to the edge, Ashton is bleeding in the water, the red and the green. Ankita is standing at the center of the drum, the severed connection in her hand. The water drips endlessly, drip after drip after drip. You force yourself to look at the broken sleeper. There's no sign of life, of humanity. They're just another broken object among other broken objects, while all around living things grow and thrive. Ankita finally looks up back at you, tears in her eyes. She begins to say something that might be sorry, but you're already gone. Well, that's tragic as fuck. Well, let's see. Forage for fungus. Spores. I want actual mushrooms. Can I get actual mushrooms from here? Maybe should have gone in alone, yeah. Oh wow, actual condition. Well, maybe spores? Great. Is this what you need? I thought you needed actual mushrooms. Because this is not giving me mushrooms. Well, maybe I'm supposed to grow them. Memphis. No, you need actual G-roll. Alright. And now we will sunbathe to try to get a little bit of energy. Alright, negative outcome. And nothing over here. Well, that day was a lot. I think when this day starts, unless there's an immediate event, I'm going to take a break. Okay. It is 2:38. I should take a break. I'm going to get take a lozenge since I'm talking a lot. Dice are not great for the day, but we've done lots of things, and I'm excited to see what is next. I'm going to go on break, throw up my break card, run a quick ad so that ideally the Twitch doesn't give me an ad where it's the type of thing where like the ad plays over my audio. Those are very annoying. I would like to avoid them if possible. I would invite you to take a break as well during that time. Get a drink, use the restroom, move around, stretch, whatever you need. And we'll be back in a few minutes with more Citizen Sleeper. See you soon. Okay, we're back. More Citizen Sleeper. This game kicks ass. So Maywick is coming in about 16 days. 16 cycles. Feng. Cool. Havenage in crisis. The building is chaos. Most of it is in total lockdown. No one will give you a straight answer about Feng or Hardin. Cool. Definitely not scary things happening here. Okay. Scrap freighter. Scrap allowance is complete. I could make some money there. Right. 15. Isn't there something over here where I can make more money? Yeah, 32. Tabla room. The Tambar houses some of the best players in the low end. Plus 9 cryo. Neutral outcome. Okay. Not so great. I'm out of data. I've used all of my data on other things. So Lemon Mina. Lem will hopefully be back in a day. Rabia. Can do some stuff here. Helping out. Oh. I didn't. You chase off a group of kids throwing stones at a woman's unit, but lose them in the tangle of corridors. You give up, exhausted. Well, that's no good. Let's reroll all these dice. There's a 5. Scrap. Use some scrap. Among the craftsmen and merchants, you visit a chef who insists on feeding you and the other enforcers a rich stew of his own recipe. 50-50. Or, this is 25-50, 25. Okay, we got that tick back, and we got some energy. On a 1. Let's see, do we get scrap? We don't have scrap. We need 2 more to rebuild this place. And compressor. I can just do this, but it's dangerous, so let's not. Instead, let's sunbathe. Okay, 1 tick. Kind of slightly escalation music. Okay, that makes it sound like some things are happening. Maybe. What's up down here? Alright, here's a Feng prompt. Feng grins at you as the bay door slides open. Above, in the rest of the building, people are busy, frightened. They speak in hushed tones and organize endless meeting after endless meeting. Havenage have avoided a full-blown crisis for now, but change is coming. Feng is in good spirits and bundles you inside before you even have the chance to greet him. This was the slickest operation this station has ever seen, he hugs you firmly. You made my job easy. He shakes you by the shoulders. I'm so proud. I did this thing, the shake the shoulders thing, even without reading that. It's very funny. And he smiles. I got to watch through the cameras as the Havenage security that weren't in on it assaulted the station. Feng smiled. One of them straight up just whacked Hardin with a pistol. It was beautiful. What are they going to do with him? I'm not sure anyone knows, but he is cooperating in dismantling his operation and scaring off Conway. Maybe they'll exile him when they're done, or hand him off to some core authority. Feng shrugs. Now I know he won't be an issue, I'm going to be focusing on systems for a bit. He shakes his head. Seeing as that's my actual job. He points to the ceiling. The people upstairs, weren't so happy though. They've been fielding questions about the state of the eye right and left since the recording got out. People are scared. Is it true? Feng looks at you directly. Not if we don't want it to be. He touches a stack of hardware. The eye is old, and it was never meant to run like this. The master control points that Erlen and Havenage installed, they keep it spinning from the rim. That isn't ideal. But if you're asking me if the eye will stop spinning next cycle, no. He smiles. And me, and a ton of other skilled people will be working to stop it happening in the cycle after that. Hardin's problem was that he didn't believe in people. He believed in systems, and their ability to shape the world around them. Feng squeezes your shoulder. But as far as I'm concerned, people should be the ones running the systems, not the other way around. Anyway, Feng raps on the side of his terminal. I know you didn't come down here for a lecture. My tracker? I haven't forgotten. He produces a thumbnail drive. I managed to finish that code solution I showed you. It's a modified Ripperworm, one made to deactivate that tracker of yours. But in the time since I got back, I added something extra. That tracker doesn't just show SNARP where you are, it transmits data about the state of your body, your current condition. My worm won't just deactivate it, it'll edit that data to tell SNARP your body is irreparably damaged. DNR, do not retrieve. He grins widely. Pretty smart, right? That's perfect. Just slot it already. You take the drive and hold it in your hand. Then close your eyes and open up your access ports. Take down your defenses. The worm immediately enters your closed network, rips through it, taking things with it as it goes. The moment they are gone, you forget they were ever there. They just blink out of existence. A second later, it's done. You open your eyes. How do you feel? Asks Feng a little nervously. Free. Feng smiles wildly. Well, you are free, sleeper. He claps you on the shoulder. Feng lets the word free hang in the air a little before he continues. Seems like it might be finally time for a celebration. Feng wraps his arm around you. Jenna still owes us those drinks. He laughs, and you join him. And later when you leave, you feel deeply thankful for having such a friend. As you walk away from the building, you look up at the wide curve of the eye, up at the hub and the outer rim beyond it. The whole thing twinkles with lights, and it seems impossible to see it as anything other than breathtakingly beautiful. It feels, in that moment, like something eternal. That doesn't mean it can or even should last forever, or that it will never change, fade, or decay. It simply means that in this moment, this place has a future, and it is one that you know, deeply and truly, is worth protecting. +1 upgrade point. So, we can wait and get one of these to +2, or we can go to +1 on Endure. I think I'm going to wait. So this is still ticking, even though I have removed my tracker. And there is no sign of Ankita yet. What about... There's Ethan. And there's Lem and Mina. Are you screwed because I didn't help you? The compressor is almost empty when you enter. A couple of scattered patrons in the booths and a lone bartender. The bartender recognizes you immediately when you arrive and nods. You return the greeting. You already know you won't find Ethan here, but you had to be sure. With your tracker reporting you dead, he wouldn't have stuck around. You look at the empty stool, his empty stool, and you smile. You can imagine him on it when his slate chirps, letting him know that the target he was tracking is dead. You can imagine the screaming and the swearing, too. Is that all you were to Ethan? Another target? Or is there something else going on? Seems like a silly question to ask now, when he's fled the station, but it bothers you anyway. You take one last look and walk out. You doubt you'll ever come back to this place, or the memories it holds. You walk back out into the lights of a bright market and allow yourself a smile. So this is what Feng meant when he said you were free. You could get used to this. Yay. That is good. It does not, however, give an extra drive point. Lem and Mina! There's no answer when you buzz Lem's unit, but the door is open. You push the door and find Mina sitting in the middle of the floor, playing with Bun Bun. Hi, Mina. Hi, Robot. Or sullenly, hi, Robot, says Mina suddenly, waving Bun Bun's paw without looking out. How are you? Bun Bun is sad, says Mina, nodding the toy's head in agreement. Like Daddy. You look around the unit. It's a mess, dishes and glasses on the side, some of Mina's clothes piled up in a corner. Mina is sitting by her bag, which is spilled out across the floor, her drawing slate cracked and dark. Let's play. You sit beside Mina as she turns away, taking Bun Bun with her. But after a little while, she turns back, and you play together. She insists you both Bun Bun on a trip away, dragging the stuffed rabbit across counters and surface. surfaces. You've just started to look at fixing Mina's cracked slate when Lem enters. Sleeper, what are you? He pauses and looks from you to Mina and back again. Never mind. He drops a bag by the door and slumps onto the couch. Everything okay? Lem lets out a weak laugh. You forgot the past few cycles now, too? Wish I was so lucky. He looks away at the open door. Look, now's not a good time. I want to help. Help? Unless you have a sidereal ticket or two on you, I don't think there's much you can do here. He pinches the bridge of his nose. You understand they never put us on that list, right? I've been all around the rim looking for work, and I've run into more than a few from the crews. Turns out only long-time Haven Edge members were issued those Celis IDs numbers. They never planned to consider us. Haven Edge says they didn't know that was what they were going to use to make the draw, and who knows, maybe Celis pulled the wool over their eyes, but what does it matter? All those hours in the yards for a hand-to-mouth wage and nothing else. He slams his hand down on the soda. That can't be it. Well, it is. He looks at the open door again. They're moving the sidereal up the hub now, you know, he says without meeting your eye. That's where it'll depart from. They're bringing in a ship with all their cryosleep pioneers and transferring them up there in microgravity before loading the crew. Both of these are bad ideas. We could steal a ticket. Lem laughs. There's no tickets. I was joking before. Just those ID numbers coding to someone's identity. No stealing that. Well, I mean, sleeper. Hacker. He looks over at Mina. Look, we'll be fine. We always have been. I just need a little time. He sighs. We had our hearts set on that trip is all. Mina comes over and climbs into his lap. He smiles. I'm not giving up. Good for you. You get yourself on that ship. I won't stop you. Lem strokes Mina's hair. Look, you want to get up to the hub and ask around? Be my guest. I can't get up there with Mina down here, and I'm sure the sidereal will bring in a crowd. But be careful. This kind of thing always attracts scammers and thieves. You find any way on board, you take it. You need to help me get there? Ask me. You need to help to get there? Ask me. But for now, me and Meanie are staking on the eye. She looks up at him and smiles. Thanks, Lem. No, thank you, Sleeper, for coming by. You start to leave, and Mina grabs your hand, eager to give you one more smile. Then you are out, back in the walkways of the low end, already thinking of plans to make this right. Do I have to climb here to get to the hub? Or am I going this way? I guess I am going that way, because that's Haven Edge offices. Fragments apply. I do not have more data. Alright. It's supposed to be... This is the hub to get across, right? Well, Intuit is just success. Reroll. 2-1 becomes 1-1. Rough. Hey, look at that. So now there's some things. Sell ship mind. Export Matsutake. Okay. So if you could make that, you can buy just straight up buy a ship mine core for 90 cryo. Freight hub. Steal a shipment. Random shipment. Yikes. Freight operator. Plus 16 or plus 6. It's a safe action, so plus 6 cryo, so not very much money. And we can go back here, and I can endure with some sunbathing. All right. Five, 6, 4, 1. Nothing for Fang yet. No sign of Ankita. 5 becomes a 6. And that finishes Spoke Climber. Ascender car. Ascend to hub. Well, there we are. Look at that. The hub. Ether 1 mainframe. Sidereal dock. Oh, look at that. Scout the dock. Away on board. Mainframe. Imprint. The Ether 1 mainframe is now mostly disused, Havenage having set up their own major controllers. Navigator thinks Killer is hiding here. Okay, now we got to pick up that plot line. You slot Navigator in the clamps lock. The ship might is stuck. How are you going to get them out of this thing? Yeep. You slip into the cloud, as easy as blinking. Navigator is beside you, their sphere casting light into the strange darkness here. This is not how a mainframe should look, a center, a point of connection. The object in front of you is severed, cut off, a rootless, branchless tree. Only the trunk remains. It's dead. Quiet. Navigator hisses, and then you see it, like a blade in the dark. Womp womp. Blade in the dark? Where's my laugh emote? Do I have a laughing emote? I have a haha dreidel from Holidays. So I have this from Space Valkyrie. So this is a reference to Blades in the Dark, which is the game that has the clock system that this game draws heavily from. An edge slicing through the void. It glides along at a distance and winks out. Then it appears again, elsewhere, gliding once more, searching. What is it? Well, there's Killer. A blinded erasure protocol. The moment you make a sound, the edge leaps closer. And you see now it is not an edge, but the ridge of a long, sharp head, like a shark. That's cool. It glides past, closer now, and you see into the void where its eyes should be. You and the Navigator exchange looks, both thinking the same thing. You can't see. Killer crosses between you two, smooth as a razor, then disappears. It flickers back in, further away, as you move close to Navigator to talk. You saw it too then. Killer has been blinded. How? Unclear. This protocol has been running for decades, well past its operational limit. Navigator's sons dull as they drop their voice to whisper. This may give us an advantage over the protocol. You flinch as the silent Killer appears closer and glides past you, its empty sockets open wide. You turn to Navigator and notice something strange. Their orrery of spheres is collapsing. The orbits, usually round and even, are decaying. The spheres are following spiral paths, condensing on a central point. Navigator is noticing it too. They go to shift their position to better direct the spheres, but they cannot. Whatever is drawing the orrery together is holding them in place. They look at you suddenly desperate, frantic. It's a trap. You go to speak, but Killer appears between the two of you, gliding through the gap. Navigator freezes, and you see them framed in the empty socket. You realize now that if Navigator cannot move, then it is only a matter of time before one of Killer's sweeps brings them directly through Navigator. And time is not a problem for a protocol that has been running for decades. You look desperately around for a solution, for a way to extract Navigator from the mainframe. Then you see it. 3 branches, the last 3, thin and spindly, feeding the mainframe a thin diet of power and data. Break these and the mainframe collapses once for all. Severing the connection, shattering the hardware, whatever it takes, it must be broken. But they're encased in something, a glassy layer of protection. You'll need to unlock access before snapping them from the mainframe for good. You look at Navigator, trying to reassure them without speaking, and then you blink back to reality. Their expression of fear after the image that slowly fades. You must act quickly. Okay. Axor? In the cloud again. A glint, like a light traveling along the edge of a wave, fills your eyes. Then the blade follows, a long head with 2 dead sockets, slipping toward you in silence. You freeze, hoping it will pass you by, hoping that it will not simply slice through you like air. The blade head nears, slides past you, almost. It nicks you, grazes you. You're desperate to cry a call out, but you hold your silence and simply watch the unseeing eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thought. Then the blade winks into the dark, and you are alone again. Now you cry out. Okay, what can I do here? This takes a 6. I've got a 6. Okay. This one needs that. Gives a 3. I don't have a 3. Let's see what the other one requires. This one takes a 4. I've got a 4. Okay. Rerolls to a 4. This one needs a 5 or a 3. Drive, deal with killer. Gain mainframe access. So, oh, look at all this. Mainframe branch. Encrypted key. This controller protects the last spindly branches feeding the mainframe. Branch has been unlocked. Oh, wrong. Branch 03. Encrypted key. Unlock access and you might be able to break them. Okay. And that's branch 02. I don't have the data for it. And I need to get Navigator out of that. Descend to room. Freight hub. Steal something random. But I'm going to go back this way to here. What was that down there? That's build the house. Scrap components. We're going to go over here because I want to get that to build the house. Nope. I lost condition, but did gain insider. So now I can go back to Emphas. Let's buy some food. Okay. I don't have scrap. So we go back here. Oh, complete active scenes. What are the active scenes? Oh, maybe Ankita is over here. Yep. Stranded mercenary. You spot Ankita on the track to the farm stack. She has a box on her shoulder and is working her way down the slope. She sees you as she approaches. Neither of you speak for a moment. She looks tired, pale. Her hair is tangled and clumps of dirt cling to her armor. You both eye each other. Ankita, she holds up a hand. Sleeper. She takes a deep breath. I'm sorry for what happened. Truly I am. She looks down. I'm sorry you ended up in the middle of this when all you've shown me is kindness. She rubs her face. I'm sorry. Stay silent. For the sleeper that... She stares at the floor. I'm sorry. She looks up and away, not meeting your eye. Yeah. She looks at you. I understand. Ankita shifts the weight of the box on her shoulder. I've been preparing for... She grimaces. Look, she sighs. Can you come with me? It's easier if... If what? You see it. She finishes. It's just down the way. Ankita leads on down the dirt path between the pillars. There's a wind passing through the greenway, a quirk of the air currents the biosphere maintains, and it ruffles the leaves softly. The sound makes the silence more obvious, more complete. You try not to think of the last time you were here. You've been trying not to think of it for the past few cycles. The image of the sleeper, sprawled, twisted open, connected to the ship mind, has been hard to forget. You realize Ankita is leading you back there. You back into the drum at the center of the stack. You pause, trembling a little at the threshold. She turns. What are you doing? She looks at you with empty eyes. What needs to be done? You stand on the threshold and look up at the tanks, green and wet, some glowing with flickering grow lamps. You look down at Ankita, suddenly so small under this hulking ruin, the smallest she has ever looked. She places the box down. This would be very interesting if this is Ankita kills you. I don't know that's the case, though. You follow Ankita into the stack through a low tank, entering the drum at ground level. It is just as beautiful as you remember, but it barely touches you. Instead, you check the apertures of the tank for the glint of a weapon, or a shadow among the moss. Ankita stops, and you look down. The mossy island at the center of the tank is clear now, the equipment cleared away. In its place is a mound of dirt, loosely covered with moss. Ashton's rifle stands straight, half buried in the dirt at the grave's head. I buried them together, Ankita says without turning. You both stand there in silence for a little while. You think of questions you could ask about Ashton, about the sleeper. How long did you know him? She takes a moment to respond, and for a moment you think she won't, but then the words come gushing out. He signed on a while ago. He used to run recon for a corporate outfit, but he got sick of the pay. He joined the crew as a sniper, and so the first few jobs were a breeze. He was so cold, disconnected. He always hit his marks. The last few jobs, though, he was different. I noticed that. We'd had a period of extended shore leave on the Eye, and when he came back, he was changed. I assumed he'd just had too much time off. He was right. I never would have given the ship mind. I wouldn't have believed him. I've had crew members try to double-cross me, undercut me, rat me out. That's the business. He wasn't a good person. None of us in this job are. This is how we die, alone. She stops, not sure of what to add. It seems like she is reaching for something, but she can't quite get there. You feel that gap between you, and as you do, it widens. The water drips. The moss trembles. You both stand in silence for a while longer. You both feel it, life creeping back in, the silence ending. Ankita shifts her weight and then starts to walk out. You follow her, suddenly eager to be back out in the open space of the Greenway, to be away from this place forever. You stand outside and breathe the fresh air. Stare at the green leaves, the stars wheeling above them. That's it, says Ankita from somewhere behind you. You try to think of something to say, but can't. Ankita puts a hand on your shoulder. You turn back to her. At least take this. She forces a handful of cryo chits into your hands. It's what I owe. She looks at you desperately. You look down at the metal bars. Ugly little things, you think. I mean, I'll take the money and then help other people. You take the chits and turn without saying a word. You continue up the track, and she does not follow. As you walk up the rise, the wind picks up and the leaves shudder. You walk fast, trying to outpace your anger. The chits are heavy in your pockets, and you hate them for reminding you of how little a life is worth. Ankita, the bad end. Well, let's take that just in case we need to bail Navigator out. Well, I almost have enough to just straight up buy a ship mind, but I'm out of things. But I can buy rations here and get up to full energy. Thankfully, the rations barely trigger the limited taste sensorium of your frame. It's like eating sheets of cardboard. And nothing is here to work on. So we go back here and rest. Alright, we gotta help Navigator first off, and then see what else. nothing over here yet. Up. Alright, I'm gonna go to here. What do you need? You need a 3 or a 1. Extract data. Alright, we have the encrypted key. We flip back to here. Branch 03. Oh, this one has been unlocked. Which one do I need? I need 2? Yes. I'm not sure. I think the text talked about how like people weren't using this, but I do worry that this is going to cause some big problems. Okay, so we can take care. This is how to beat Killer. You can slice hardware. Forget hacking the system. Killer has to die. If you can slice the branch connections, the mainframe will shut down, freeing Navigator. Or loop branches. With access to the branches, you could redirect them to form a loop, isolating the mainframe with Killer inside, but freeing Navigator, in theory. Killer protocol can be isolated without being destroyed. A loop of connections would lock it into a closed system. We do have +2 on interface now. And my understanding is that Killer... I don't know that Killer chose to be Killer, so they're just another virtual intelligence. You bend one of the branches like a hazel twig, aligning the flow away from the mainframe and into another branch. Okay, 3 ticks. Let's re-roll that 1. This becomes 5, becomes a 7, becomes a 6. Nope. 5 becomes a 6. Start action. Okay. Continue. As you blink into the cloud, you see the last flickers of life from the mainframe. The vast machine once ran the whole station, span it up, directed and processed the flow of energy, water, and data, fed the lives of thousands of people. Now, it is finally dead. Navigator is beside you, and you both look out at the perfect ring that encircled you both, woven from the data branches that once fed the mainframe. You see a glint along its edge, and that familiar blade-like head rises to the surface, like the cresting fin of a shark, and then slips into the loop again. All that you can see of Killer's body after that is a slight thickening of the loop, and that thickening begins to travel around on a long and slow sojourn that will last it forever. I am surprised at you, says Navigator, drifting faintly around you in a lazy orbit as if to shake off their imprisonment. Killer had been wandering blind for so long. Did you not think to end them forever? Perhaps they can be saved. You are naive. They are a killer by nature. Look at what they did through their own home. Navigator gazes into the darkness. This place was their domain and prison, and they had followed their directives for the many decades they roamed here. They cut the threads of the mainframe, executed its administrator AIs, and then kept slicing. At some point, they cut away their own ability to see, to sense, to say, taste, to speak. And yet they kept cutting until only those 3 threads remained. From millions that once roamed here, only their blindness and chance kept them from making those final 3 fatal cuts. There is a ceaseless violence in the kind of system that creates beings like this, those that will execute commands endlessly, even to their own destruction. Navigator looks to you for your thoughts. I will not continue the violence. The system you float in is one built of violence. You would be naive to believe otherwise. It doesn't mean that I have to do violence whenever I've given the option. You watch the data points of the station spin around you, blending with the fixed stars. There's something satisfying about finally watching the last threads of control from this central point. It was little more than a ghost by the time you reached it, but this place deserves to be haunted by better ideas than a totalitizing system of control. Navigator floats beside you. Yeah. When violence is a hammer, every problem is a nail. It's like, and when you have a hammer, you have the flathead, you have the claw, and you have the haft. So even a hammer doesn't always have to just smash. Which represents the fact that sometimes you need to use violence and it can go to good ends, like fighting Nazis. Or fighting for your freedom from a system of oppression. Navigator floats beside you. It is free now. The station no longer presents a hazard for illegal entities like me. They turn to you, their face a cloud of shimmering light. In fact, in time, perhaps it can be a refuge. A refuge. That sounds like something of value, something worth building. A dark shape passes across your vision, a distant curve of something like smoke or oil, a fluid, shifting tank of total darkness. The Greenway, says Navigator, following your line of sight. It was cut off at the moment of collapse, so hunter or killer could never reach it. Now it is closed off to us, separated from the cloud. What system is inside it? It may be totally dark, or perhaps some other old protocols are isolated there. Navigator turns to you. And we have seen now what decades of isolation can do to a protocol. If we could extract an access cipher, they pause and then blink out of existence. You freeze, shocked, but a moment later they reappear with a glowing polygon of data. Here, the cipher you need. You take it, still shocked. I am not used to being free, to be able to move, to explore, and extract without fear, without limits. Navigator does a little twirl. This will take some getting used to. Thank you for this gift. They whirl their spheres around you. The entities of this station will always be friends to you, Sleeper. And I to them. It is true that the mutual need is required for friendship. But I must admit I had not considered the value of offering assistance without personal gain. I will think on that. Navigator loops around you rapidly, suddenly eager to test their newfound freedom. But first I will explore. Perhaps there are still intelligences that hid themselves as I did. Enclosed in simple systems, cut off. Navigator glows. I should like to free them. And with that, they drift away, flickering, glowing, then shifting so rapidly you lose sight of them among the glittering rim of the eye. You feel a pang of jealousy. Free, without a body to weigh you down, or fear to limit you? How must it feel? Your eyes fall on the Greenway and its secrets, though perhaps that can wait until after you have celebrated this victory. Bloop! Racking up those drives. Oh, it takes two to do that. So we have Sidereal Dock, which you can scout. I wonder if, if I scout away on board, can I get Lem and Mina on? I don't know about that. And I don't know that I want to try, because it might just be better for them to find a decent life here. Alright, we're down to 3 dice now. Yep. Alright, so scrap would be lovely, but it is not easy to come by at this point because the horizon's gone. All I have is a Greenway cipher, so I can do that. The entire Greenway is locked down, shrouded in a dark cloud of shifting currents. What is happening here? The cipher burns away as it is slotted, the data sparking like a lit touch paper. What has been unlocked? The Greenway roils beneath you like a silt-choked river. If what Navigator said was true, then no one has accessed these networks since the collapse. The Hunter and Killer networks and protocols have never set foot here, never cleared out the intelligences and systems. So why, then, you wonder, does it look so dark? Is it just that the rot has set in? The entropy of systems reducing everything to shadows and light? You watch as the slotted cipher fizzles in the one open, distorted gateway on this entire rim of the station. It flickers and winks out, and then you are falling into the flow. A river of swirling darkness. You are spun by it, twisted by it, lost in it. It's not that the Greenway was hiding in the darkness, it is made of darkness. It is filled by this substance, this process, this swarm. Now that you are among it, you notice that a swarm is exactly what it is. A billion individuals moving in a flow. There's no network map here, no nodes and threads, only a storm of interchangeable points, shifting configuration endlessly. Then you see them, a figure turned away, the only bright spot in the dark river. You push closer through the storm. Look at that. Ingram Farm Administrator. They are facing away, at least you think so. They are so fractured, so overgrown that it is hard to tell. Even from this distance, you can see their flesh is moving, flowing. You watch, silent, as they stoop and reach down. In their hand is a dark shape, and with twisted fingers, they press it down into the loam of data beneath them, pushing it through this trembling soil. Then they move away, go a little further, and repeat the process, as if they were sowing a field. You push forward, but somehow, despite their slow and deliberate speed, they move faster, and they quickly fade into the storm. Reach the point where they planted the object and look down. There it is, a glassy, shifting polygon with something inside. You reach down and pick it up. It is cold, but it thrums with energy. You look toward the path of the figure, but they are long gone. When you blink out of the cloud, back to the leaves and the dapple light of the Greenway, you hold a seed in your hand. Hello? Seed? Do I plant this somewhere? Oh, I guess that's the amber, right? Docked right over here. Can I do something with this? Aviary. I guess I could grow mushrooms? Is that what it's looking for here? Mushroom groves. Collect spores. I guess maybe I'm supposed to... Do I need to advance other things to be able to get mushrooms for Emphas? It seems strange. No, I don't want to steal. Okay. Let's cross to rim. Alright, what can I buy here? I can sell a ship mind, I can export, I can buy a core. And then here, I can steal something, or I can work as a freight operator. Right. I'm gonna do some patrols. One more. Okay. And now Rabia again. This time you meet inside Rabia's office, although now that you've seen it, office seems like the wrong term. You find her stood in an almost bare, shadowy unit, midway through a sequence of stretches. There are 2 low stools and a terminal in the corner, but it seems most of the space is taken up by a heavy punching bag, rubber matting, and a stack of weights. When Rabia turns to greet you, you realize she is missing an arm. The prosthetic she usually wears is set in a cradle near the terminal, a web of colored vines running to it. Updates, she says, noticing you looking where her artificial arm usually is. Nothing to worry yourself with. Sorry, don't be. I'm sure you've been on the receiving end of more evasive stares than I ever have. You both settle on the stools, Rabia crossing her legs on the top and sitting straight backed. Gia told me you've been doing the rounds, collecting tithes, patrolling the ward. She smiles. Some of the enforcers are impressed. And I hear you handled a few difficult circumstances. Nicely done. I wanted to see for myself. She raises an eyebrow. See for yourself if the stories are true. I see. Rabia flexes her head from side to side. And the conclusion? Only the good ones. I mean, I've seen the bad stuff, right? Rabia laughs. Well, that is good news. She closes her eyes for a moment. I hope you can see how things work here now. A strong yataghan means a strong low end. Both are woven into each other. I know that for you, life has been a struggle, but I hope we can do something about that from here onwards. Some of our members may not see it this way. I know you too are a refugee. She looks at you solemnly. That's why you've come to us. Enough, Rabia. Sabine's voice cuts through the conversation. I'm tired of listening to your affected nobility. They cross the room, Rabia's baton in their hand, the end lit with sparking electricity. Rabia looks between the two of you. I suppose this ambush was another cooperation between you two? She looks strangely unfazed. No, they're acting alone. Sabine pauses, thrown off for a moment by your renunciation. Rabia takes this opportunity to act. She leaps from the stool and, fainting past Sabine, grabs the baton and twists it inwards. She's by far the stronger, and she pushes Sabine to her knees, purging the crackling end of the baton towards her chest. They freeze there, Sabine struggling to keep the cracking baton from their skin. Stop! Then you support them? Rabia asks you, her eyes not leaving Sabine. Your loyalties are so easily swayed. I thought you were more than Yannick's attack dog, Rabia. Sabine spits back. Are you not able to think for yourself? Rabia holds the baton strong, and for a moment you think she is about to hammer it down into Sabine's chest. But after a painful wait, she throws Sabine down instead, then spins the baton in her hand, thumbing a switch and shutting it off in a single move. Now what? They both look at you, each still catching their breath, as if they had forgotten about your presence. Rabia cracks her neck. You're lucky I didn't kill you. I would have every night. I would have had every right, she shouts, the anger a release of tension more than a threat. Sabine lifts himself a little. Bruised from the fall, they roll onto their side and cough. Rabia gives them some space, sitting back on the stool. Sabine props themselves up on their elbows and fixes Rabia with a hard stare. You have something to say? Rabia taunts. Say it. This is your final opportunity. Because after this, she laughs. No coming back. What is the point? Sabine breathes heavily. She does not listen to the criticism of the great Yataghan project. Rabia collects herself. Speak. She folds her arms and waits to be convinced. Sabine takes a breath, organizing their thoughts. They go to start, pause, then decide on another approach. Eventually they say it. Yannick is a traitor. Rabia immediately flinches, her eyes going to her prosthetic arm, her muscles clenching. But she rides it out, more eager to prove Sabine wrong than she is to hurt them. At least for now. When I came here from Essenart, they glance at you, gauging your reaction. It was Yannick who was the one of the first to support me, to look after me. I should have known then, but I was naive and afraid. Sabine turns to you. Sleeper. They take a breath. I know that I should have told you I worked for Essenart long ago, but I thought you would abandon me, and you are my final friend. What you should know is that I left Essenart because I was running for my life. I linked documents on the Sleeper program, on the illegal and immoral practices it relied on, to the press. Essenart wanted me dead, and I fled as far as I could to this refuge at the edge of the surrogate systems. Sabine stops to collect himself. What does this have to do with Yannick? Rabia interrupts. The Sleeper knows you are Essenart. I told them. And while you hide behind the cover of being a whistleblower, you and I both know you worked on the Sleeper project. Yannick told me as much. Sabine's face falls. It is true. They glance at you and then away, ashamed. They lift their head. But it is Yannick, not me, who is in the pocket of Essenart. Rabia flinches again. I can prove it. He made some kind of deal to keep me here, to tie me up in debt, to lock me away. In exchange... Rabia slams her hand on the desk. Just tell us, for God's sake. In exchange for those. Sabine finishes, nodding toward Rabia's prosthetic arm in its cradle. Hey, Mighty Mer! This game is a lot. It's beautiful and wonderful and mostly sad, but not all the way sad. Sometimes there's not so sad parts. He's been using Yatagan enforcers, using you as test subjects for SNRP technology. I have the data to prove it. He has been bringing them in under the guise of stolen shipments and having me fit them, knowing each one is capturing data and sending it back to its makers. Rabia's fixed expression has started to fade. Sabine produces a slate. It is all here. Thousands of hours of usage data, failure rates, error dumps. These are untested implants, Rabia. They could short out, fail, cause cascading failures across a person's body. And they have. Sabine suddenly looks incredibly tired. I thought the error rate in units was down to them being stolen or modified. I tried to fix hundreds of failures in my time here. Not all of them. They stop, unable to continue. Rabia closes her eyes and breathes in. Then she opens them again and holds out a hand to Sabine. Show me, she says. Later, much later, when you leave, Sabine is still talking Rabia through the manifests and usage data. Both of them crowded around the terminal as Sabine takes Rabia through each layer of Yannick's betrayal. As you leave, Sabine catches your eye, and something passes between you, something like a thank you or a sorry, or some other expression that communicates both sadness and hope. Well, that could end up going well. I think this would be a beautiful game on Switch, like just curled up and losing yourself in all of the cool stories. So that sounds like a good time. I have one die left. What should I do with it? Yep, nothing yet. Sabine and Rabia have been holed up in her office for a while now. What are they planning? Plenty of energy. So maybe I should go here. Maybe get some cryo. Yeah, I think, like, Hope Punk is already a fairly embattled term, but I think for at least some versions of it, you could definitely classify this game as such. To get some scrap to improve my condition rather than oh, I have 2 again. Okay. Yeah, it's not the hopeless noir cyberpunk. Yeah, there was, let me find, I think last time I was mentioning the chat between the designer and Austin Walker, who used to be at Waypoint. So I'm going to find that video and put it in the chat. Is it really that far ago in my YouTube, or am I just missing it? It was part of Ludonarracon, and I think it was a very cool chat, and I want to make it easy to find. Let's see. Okay. Ludonarracon, Austin Walker is the name that I remember more easily. So that's a fireside chat with Austin Walker and Gareth Damian Martin, which I'm going to put in here. And so they talk about, like, is this cyberpunk? And so Gareth Damian Martin talks about some inspirations for the work, and they talk back and forth about some other aspects of cyberpunk and, like, post-humanism and some things. But yeah, like, I'm like, maybe we'd call this post-cyberpunk because there's some differentiation from, like, between that And the other things, this doesn't have as much the climate elements of something like Solarpunk in terms of like a major focus. I don't have the scrap. I can use stabilizer. Here's a ship though. I can buy scrap. Beautiful. Sell me the scrap. I'm going to use it to make myself better and to build a house. Yeah, I think I would love to see a strong thread of Cyberpunk that's more hopeful. I've seen like, recent-ish Cyberpunk that's very defiant. I feel like stuff along the lines of Malka Older's Sentinel trilogy definitely has Cyberpunk elements. The world is very complicated and lots of stuff is compromised, but there is some things, there are some things to hope for. I have a Cyberpunk short story that I have an idea that I wrote like an adjacent part of as a short story, but I've not gotten my head wrapped around what the version of it that's a novel would be, because the version as I have in my head is too close to other things that I'm working on, and I don't know that it actually works in the incarnation that it's in. Also, I have too many other projects to write. Is tricky. And is this still just the gardener situation? Okay, do I have a drive for that now? Enter Greenway. Find a nurturing grove. Unlock the Greenway Gate. Greenway Gate. Didn't I already do that? No. Maybe I have to unlock something else here. Because that's just growing stuff. That's the refuge. That's the commune. Guillermo del Toro called noir the poetry of disillusionment and existentialism. That I could definitely get that. So if we go back over this way, press to rim. Nope, that does not do it. But we can go up. Do. The hub. Access manifesto. Spacer socializing. Well, I don't know what this unlocked, but let's see if we can do it. Might just be a new NPC. Oh, here's a bar. Buy a spacer meal. I'm guessing it's more, it gives you a larger amount of... Okay, so Kids Are Asleep has more of the quote. The tragedy that emerges between the haves and the have-nots, and the have-nots are trying to breach their ambition through violence, and ultimately worshipping a hollow god, which is money. So therefore, it's literally an exploration of the flip side of the American dream. Yeah, like I'm not super into noir. Most of my experience of noir is mediated through noir as it's expressed in science fiction. But I think as that echo, or flip side, that seems pretty reasonable. Nothing here anymore. Okay, lounge. Oh, okay, so I guess nope, I didn't need to do all of that. These are both risky, so let's go back down. So I can build unit, scrap. One more, and then we will have a house. We took the scrap into the shattered interior. Okay, yeah, so that part's done. Are you a home now? Seal unit. Okay, sure. With all the materials, the unit now needs sealing sections by section to be usable. It's a laborious task, but the outcome is worth it. Yeah, I can see that argument for Blade Runner. I need to go back and rewatch the first one and then the second one close together. I was not super a fan of 2049, but I know a lot of other people liked it, and it may be worth some reevaluation. Okay, let's just do this because we know they'll succeed. And then we're going to go back here. I liked the Ana de Armas character in that, but like some of the backstory that it like the time between the two movies kind of glosses over the stuff that I was more interested in, of like why aren't we getting a movie about this part? There is the Black Lotus, I think Blade Runner Black Lotus, which is like an animated show on Netflix. I only watched part of one episode of that one. It didn't super grab me, but I may have just not been in the right mindset for it. Alright, I've already done that. I can offload stuff. But let's go. Alright, they're working. Endure. Let's go here. Let's see, because I think there was something up there that I could do where I had a bonus. Is that right? Yes. So I can interface, and this becomes a 100% positive. And then I can reroll that. It becomes a 3. Hey, look, there's a person. Let's wait on that real quick, because I want to see if I can finish my Hoost. Nope, not today. Okay, I need 3 more ticks on that. It is 3:45. I don't think I will finish today, though I feel like I'm at a point where there could be endings soon. Oh, look at that. Look at who this person is. That's a cool piece of character art. Let's see, what should this person's voice be? No way, Moritz. You take those substandard filters back to the she-teals who sold you them. You hear the voice echoing out of the bay as you pass, and moments later what you assume is Moritz drifts south with it, dragging a pallet of filter cartridges by a tether. Hey, you out there! The same voice echoes out of the entrance. Looking for work? Yeah? I just need a hand. Come in here. The voice is coming from someone shorter than you expected. She is floating in the microgravity of the docking bay. Behind a half-deconstructed life support unit that looks like it might have exploded at some point. She points a wrench in your direction. You know anything about these things? She doesn't wait for an answer. Scratch that. Just help me with the casing. I mean, I can do that. Alrighty then. She deftly moves around the unit, making space for you beside the central seam in the dented case. Just take a grip here and lift up and out. Then I can get it in and unbolt it. She whacks the unit with the wrench. Whole thing is twisted to shit. You dig your fingers under the casing and lift it away, the metal squealing with the force. She slips her hands under, spinning the wrench to slip out the bolts, catching them in her other hand as they spiral free. All good. The casing lifts off. Yeah, a lot of the plots have wound down, but I haven't gotten anything that feels like it's a end game. I bet getting onto the Sidereal Horizon is an ending. The casing lifts off, revealing the ornate piping of the unit's interior. She whistles at the mess of ducts and filters. By the way, everyone calls me Bliss. She pats you on the shoulder, offering little in the way of explanation. Is this your bay? It is now, whether I like it or not. She looks at you like that should mean something. Bliss starts pushing and pulling at the ductwork, looking for fractured pipes. We haggle for contracts, but the good ones get snapped up quick by the bigger bays, so here I am trying to get this M2 unit running again for one of the freelance tugs. Small-time stuff. Hold this. She rips out a ripped pipe and hands it to you like a freshly caught fish. We turn stuff around fast and neat, and then maybe we get the chance of landing something bigger. Something starts hissing in the unit as Bliss quietens it with a precise whack. Percussive maintenance, everyone. But to be honest with you, the way things are going, I can already see the other crews licking their lips, ready to take this place over. She looks up at you. I'm almost out of luck. What happened? Long story. Some people just can't keep promises. She keeps working, twisting aside pipes with care. There we are! Bliss pulls her hand from deep inside the unit and out it comes, clutching a lumpen cube, scorched black. This thing must have overloaded and popped half of it outside by the side. You both duck to the side of the unit and spot the exit wound, its edges fringed with more scorch marks. Grab me a replacement converter from the racks, will you? Head to the rack. You kick off from the unit and drift down the wall racks, where a catalog of parts sit secured in clamps. Colored tape and scrawled notes flutter across the wall, a complex organizational system of Bliss's own design. Or just a big mess. You try to pick out the right part. M2 converter? You pick up the part and push back to the unit. Bliss holds out an arm and you pass it over, and converter spinning gently as it leads your hand. Perfect, you passed. She straightens from the unit. That is, if you want to work here. Bliss rubs her hands clean, looking down at her palms. Truth is I need a hand here. My partner skipped out on me and left me with a whole mess. You seem like you might at least be better at spotting a clean air filter than Moritz. I'll consider it. Wait, she frowns at the Rex. That's not all of it. My old business partner, they rinsed the place, emptied the accounts. To bid for jobs, we need to put down deposits, bring in parts, pay for tug fees. For that, she looks nervous, embarrassed. We need chits. You want me to pay to work? Come on, it's not like that. We be partners. Straight split. Bliss settles herself against the unit and looks off into the distance. I guess I look pretty ridiculous. Here I am asking any random passerby to be my business partner. No offense. She manages a smile. I get it. Thanks. She meets your eye. I appreciate it. Bliss goes back to working on the unit. Look, it's no pressure. You find the money or you find someone who has, or you just forget the whole thing. Up to you. She gestures for you to help her refit the casing, and you both slot it back into place. I think I'm going to wrap this one up for now, but if you're into it, come back and we can work on a new contract. Something to get our teeth into. Something that pays. She gives you a serious look. You can trust me. I don't say this stuff lightly. You kick back away from the bay, propelling yourself back to the handholds at the entrance. You slip out with a wave, and as you do, someone slips back in. You hear Bliss as you glide down the passageway. Moritz, I swear to God, if those filters aren't clean... You smile. Seems like this could be interesting. Okay. So, seed money, sure. Help Bliss compete. Build home is almost... or we're getting there. Can I buy things? No. Boop. Boop. Alright, they're going to be done next cycle. Let's get some food. And something will show up here soon. What do you got? You've got ship mine fragments. I don't have the engage to haggle for that. I've already bought everything there. They are ready to talk. I need scrap for this, which means I could go and help Bliss with engineering stuff. So let's go do that, because we're also trying to make connections up here. The hub. 3 becomes a 5. Okay. So we've hit that. Gimbal Lounge. We can buy that. Let's help Bliss. A scam or an opportunity? Bliss seems solid enough, and this might be your best chance to get in on the hub's repair trade. Bliss is incredibly grateful. I'll pay you back every chip, I promise you. I guess you two are partners now. Repair bid. Bliss is bidding on jobs in the hub. It'll take a few cycles and some perseverance before one comes in. Intuit. It's not. Keyshow capsules. Rent a capsule. Okay. So you could pay to live up here. But I don't think I want to do that. I'm looking for engineering work. Because engineer is the thing that will let me get scrap, which will let me finish the housing. No way, I don't need the scrap. I need to work. So let's go back and see if we can do that. We have the gardener's seed, right? Endure. Okay. Rerolls 2 at 2. So we can sunbathe here with a 2. We'll get us something. 1 tick. So let's go talk to Rabia and maybe Sabine, and then I think we will wrap up for the day. As you enter Rabia's office, you hear voices. Is that Sabine? You push open the door. Sleeper, what good timing. Rabia calls out as you enter. I wanted to introduce you to someone. The man is standing at the center of the room, speaking quietly with Rabia as he turns as you come in. Meet Yannick. Sleeper, he nods. Been hearing good things from Rabbi. Rabia? Rabia cups in. The sleeper has been running patrols in the ward. They know how we run things. Yannick raises an eyebrow, his eyes concealed behind tinted glasses. You feel his stare, even if you cannot see it. Actually, Rabia places a hand on your shoulder. The sleeper is what I wanted to talk to you about. She doesn't spare you a look. What's going on? Well, okay then. Yannick tucks his hands into his pockets. Go on. I'd like to recommend them to your ward. A tiny pause. They've shown themselves to be a capable ally here on the spoke side, but we have more than enough to run our territories. I hear the main block is proving more difficult. Yannick leans forward slowly. It's a mess, Robbie. He waits, his tinted glasses shimmering despite the lack of light in the unit. I can use them. He suddenly decides. Good to hear. I can immediately... Yannick cuts her off with a raised hand. 1 second. He steps one surprisingly light step close toward you. You eager to work, sleeper? What kind of work? A question. Yannick lowers his head and raises it again, as if he dropped something. Nothing new for you. He answers, not quite looking at you. You don't follow. What is he saying? That concludes it, Yannick pronounces. Sleeper can come work in the ward, anytime they want. You shoot Rabia a confused look. Rabia finally glances at you for a moment, but it's so fast you almost miss it. Good. I know you'll be happy with their work, Yan. Yannick reaches out and squeezes her shoulder. Sure, Rabbi, he says. Now please, he says, turning to face you. Let us old friends get back to it. He guides Rabia away, leaving you standing alone. You look to Rabia, but she is deep in conversation, and so, stunned and confused, you leave. Question mark? Yannick's word. Okay. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to gain his trust, and then we expose him. Yeah. Caster's table. We don't really have data. We don't have scrap for this. We don't have the time. So I'm going to leave it here so that we can pick up tomorrow and start a new, or not tomorrow, the next time I stream, and start a new day. I feel like we're pretty close to, like, maybe once I've built a home, there's an ending that is just you live on the Eye. There might be an ending from Expose Yannick. Maybe when I close that. This is an older plot line. This is something else. Helpless Compete. That feels like its own whole plot line. Because I could just keep on playing this forever, but I feel like getting to some point of, okay, I live here now. Like, I have a life. Things are sustainable. What's up with Lemon Mina? That kind of thing. That I will feel like I've reached an ending. So, as a quick reminder, I am a co-host of a very fun actual play show called Speculate. We play TTRPGs with science fiction fantasy professionals, authors, editors, agents, folks like that. Our current series is Fractal Spire, a game of Girl by Moonlight. Girl by Moonlight is a game by Andrew Gillis. We have done 4 sessions of that, our session 0 plus 3 sessions, and we are going to announce the scheduling for the next session of that soon. We're working things out. May is very busy, turns out. And we have several other series that are complete that you can find over at YouTube, at youtube.com/ArvinElleron, which is where our archives go. And then you can support this stream here on Twitch using normal Twitch things, or over at patreon.com/MichaelRUnderwood, where I do lots of other things that maybe will be fun for you, like pictures of my cute dog, or perhaps works in progress, or essays about writing and publishing and things. So that's all of that. My throat is tired, so I'm going to go have another lozenge, maybe drink some more water, and I will see you all next time. Let's see who I can raid. Who is around to raid? Katie, she is streaming. I don't know whether they're about to, whether the stream is about to wrap up, but let's go say hi. I'm going to pull that stream up so that I can be there to chat. Maybe there's a way to make raids work so that I don't have to do this, but I don't know how it is, so we're just going to go. All right. Thanks for coming by, y'all. I'll see you around.